Hello, a very good morning to you. Happy Christmas. This is Talk Today. The time is 7:03. I'm David Bowler. I wish you a very happy Christmas wherever you are in this great country and indeed around the world. Thank you very much indeed for your company this morning. Great news, as you would expect, of course, because today is Eggnog Day. Yeah, I agree with that. Also, happy birthday to Carol Vorderman, who is 63 today.
Happy birthday to you.
And, of course, as I just mentioned, it's Christmas Eve. That means there is just one more sleep to go until Christmas.
Are you on the good list or the naughty list?
The very, very naughty list. Right, let's start today's show, shall we?
Today's fascinating facts.
So today's fascinating facts, a festive bumper. On this day in 1904, the London Coliseum opened with the first revolving stage in Britain. Amazing that. On this day, this is very poignant indeed, on this day in 1914, in the First World War, not a shot was fired as German and British soldiers played football and handed out drinks, cigars and souvenirs to each other. It was possibly the most poignant moment of the Great War. And for several days afterwards, the two sides appeared really reluctant to fire on the men they had met face to face. And the question I have is, do we ever learn from war? On this day in 1965, a meteorite weighing 45 kilos fell on Britain, on the village of Barwell in Leicestershire. What had Barwell done to deserve a meteorite falling on them? In 1979, the first European Ariane rocket was launched. The project was Western Europe's second attempt to develop its own launcher, following the unsuccessful Europa project. And on this day in 2020, at 2:45 precisely, after 4.5 years of legal wrangling, the EU and the United Kingdom reached a post-Brexit trade deal. And those are today's fascinating facts. Talking of legal wrangling, never trust a lawyer, so I thought I'd bring one in. Barrister extraordinaire Andrew Eborn joins me this morning, looking terribly festive.
Well, thank you. Sort of normal wear for any time of the year. It is an absolute joy to come on your show, to finish the year in style. I love it. And boy, when we jingle, do we jingle all the way.
We certainly do. Today will be really fun, actually. We've got a packed show for you this morning. Let's start with eggnog, though.
Yes.
Because it's an extraordinary drink. Do you like eggnog?
I do like a bit of eggnog, but it's time of the day, isn't it? It's rather like, any time after breakfast is fine.
Well, exactly.
But you've got to work on that sort of basis. There is something wonderfully festive about eggnog, which
Is there?
Yes.
I think it's very American.
Well, it doesn't matter. I like Americans. Half my family's American. We love Americans. What's wrong with you?
I know, that was very pejorative, wasn't it? No, so eggnog, and
Yes.
it's not a drink. I mean, I lived in the States, and
Yes.
it's not a drink I know very well. But historically, it was known as milk punch or egg milk punch when you add alcoholic beverages to it. It's rich, it's chilled, it's sweetened, it's dairy-based, and you make it with milk, cream, sugar, egg yolks, and whipped egg whites.
We love the whipping, and rich and chilled, rather like me. What I love.
That's definitely true.
But they used to put dates in it as well. So in the olden times, that's how they used to sweeten it. It was glorious.
Another round of eggnog, please.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Well, do you know there's a variety called Poncha Crema? It's made and consumed in Venezuela and Trinidad. It's been done since the 1900s. As I said, that's how it is made. But there are very many variants. I was looking back at the Modern Bartender's Guide from 1878. There are lots of names for it. Plain eggnog, egg milk punch, Baltimore eggnog, General Jackson eggnog, Imperial eggnog, sherry cobbler eggnog, sherry cobbler with egg, mulled claret with egg, egg sour, and Saratoga egg lemonade.
Well, I'll be so disappointed if I was the one who was the plain eggnog in that glorious list. But I love it. How you only get them if you can order them, though. Is that and what's the difference? What's the best one? What's the flagship eggnog?
Well, that I don't know, but the question is, where does the word come from? Now, looking back, it actually appears, it depends who you talk to, but it may well originate from East Anglia, my part of the world. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, nog was a kind of strong beer brewed in East Anglia. However, other people say nog stems from noggin, which is a Middle English term for a small carved wooden mug used to serve alcohol.
That's also true. So you can pick and choose. It's rather like your mother. So whichever one you like, the answer's yes.
Right, let's move to the front page of the Times. I have to say I'm enjoying being on the front pages of two newspapers in 2 days. This is, I'm actually not mentioning this one by name, but my photo is on the online.
I know, I loved it. I have a signed copy.
The headline, if you are just waking up this morning, Reform UK's cast iron pledge to fight the Tories. The leader of Reform UK has privately given his senior team, that includes me, guarantees that the general election candidates will be not told to step aside for Tory opponents. This is a big deal. Richard Tyers offering written assurances to key party figures that the Conservatives will be fought right up to polling day. 440 candidates have already been selected out of 650, which will be ready to be mobilised.
Yes.
As you will remember, and I still get a lot of flack for this, in 2019 we stood candidates down. Really to stop the Labour Party getting in, and there was an electoral pact done which the Conservative Party broke. Richard Tyers is very, very clear that will not happen again, and this is a huge threat to the Conservative Party.
Oh, it's a massive threat, isn't it? But you've got the inside track. As you say, you are very senior, probably the most exciting character in the whole Reform Party.
Richard would disagree, so would Ben.
No, but if anybody's going to have a party, he's the guy to be there. What I love about it, though, the inside track, tell me what that letter actually said. Did they say we're not going to do a deal? Did they say we're not going to roll over and give all our votes to the Conservatives? What did it say?
Yes.
Yes.
All of the above.
All of the above?
Yes.
OK.
So, I mean, I think the thing is we feel very disappointed that we had an electoral pact and it was pretty much reneged on. And it's come back to bite the Tories, really, hasn't it, at the bottom? So from an 80-seat majority down to 56 majority. And one of the things that I talk about a great deal, regardless of your politics, I really want people to vote positively.
Yes.
Not to vote against
Tactical
a party.
voting's so boring, isn't it?
It is, and also, as you know, it's our political system because with the way that we have first past the post, it's very difficult for smaller parties. That being said, if you look at the Times polling, Reform UK on 11%, third now. There will be a lot of flux in the new year. Richard Tyers has called a press conference on the 3rd of January to talk about what's happening. Also, there are lots of stories this morning about Nigel Farage deciding what he's going to do.
Fresh out of the jungle.
Fresh out of the jungle. Interestingly, having captured a whole new audience of younger people.
Matt Hancock, he came in the same position as Matt Hancock, and so all sorts of interesting things. What I love about it as well, though, David, is you're looking at that sort of principle. Would you then be the king or queen makers for the next government?
Well, I mean, certainly in that position, you would have a sort of a base of power, wouldn't you?
Right.
I mean, I think I can probably say this. I'm just thinking it through whether I can.
I could ask these questions.
Well, I think I can say this, but there are multiple members of Parliament who are deeply worried about their own seats, who sit in the Conservative Party.
I know lots of them personally,
who are talking to us about coming over.
No, and I understand that, and some people are coming over on that sort of basis. But you could be the king or queen maker if it really is both sides, the Tories or Labour, are on equal pegging. Who would you go for?
We will face that when we come to it. I mean, I think, but the thing is that it actually goes, because actually every vote matters. So, so if you vote positively, you can affect change, and I think that's the message we want to get out there.
Right.
I think the new year you're going to see people setting out their stall, and it also depends, you know, Rishi Sunak, I keep saying these 5 pledges which he takes to bed with him. It's written on every piece of clothing he owns, and pretty much he hasn't delivered. He's got 1 out of 5, which I don't think is actually down to him.
That was the easy one, what the inflation bit. Everybody knew that was going to be less than half easily, but in time for the...
But let's look at Labour. So Labour rowing back on all their policies as well. So I don't know.
Rowing back, is that the immigration thing you're talking about?
It may well be. It's literal and metaphorical. But actually, what does the Labour Party stand for? Even the Labour Party doesn't really know. Because they're talking about all these millions they're going to throw into the green projects, and now they're rowing back on that. Where do they stand on immigration?
It is so easy in opposition, isn't it? Because you just say, oh, they're wrong, and get it round, and you work on that sort of basis. What would be interesting, though, so will Richard Tyers be our next Prime Minister? Is that what he's campaigning for, or is he being realistic?
It's up to the voters, isn't it? Let's move on to some good news. Festive cheer. I want to do some nice things, actually. The Bank of England officially hints at interest rate shift as the UK faces recession, so sort of some good news. This is quite interesting, though. Jonathan Haskell, he sits on the MPC, the Monetary Policy Committee. He has always voted consistently for interest rate rises, and he is saying that actually this time he's encouraged by the broad-based fall in headline inflation, even though the UK is on the brink of recession, and a recession defined as 2 quarters of static or negative growth. So I'm hopeful, I'm really hopeful that people will be put out of their misery, because so many people are worried about spiralling mortgage rates. They can't afford their mortgages. We know about the cost of living. Yeah. Do you think the MPC went too hard?
I think what's happening is all of this is leading up to the election, so there's going to be that sort of working on the sort of basis where they can have that sort of luxury to turn around and say, let's do something. People are feeling the pinch, and this time of year we're all very jolly, but it's really expensive for people. And I think the reality is we need to look at that sort of side. When people have a choice between eating or heating, that is a real issue. So we need to look at that. It's going to be an election winner, and I can guarantee whatever side of the party politically you are, it's going to be looking on that sort of basis. And I think there will be tax cuts. I do think there would be some more surprises coming, so on and so forth. But we need to make sure more people get more money in their pocket.
So we're going to talk more about that, because the Conservative Party, my advice to them is to be conservative. And I don't think they are being conservative at all. And we'll talk about that. We've got our Future Politics panel later with Grace Badamosi and also with Harrison Orman-Varty. That's about 8:20.
And it's a great Scrabble score, by the way. It's more than 8:20, I can tell you.
It definitely is.
Oh, fantastic.
But so it will be fascinating to see in terms of the way that this rolls out next year, because I think people will then have very clear views about what the political parties actually stand for. And you're right, there will be tax cuts. But I said this yesterday, I want to see everyone who earns under 20,000 come out of tax completely.
I agree with you. I think what we need to do is make people better in their pocket, because that's going to make them feel better in that sort of time. And that will be when they call the election. I can tell you it will either be in March or in October. It can't be in November, because it can't conflict with the American things going on. So you want my jobs to be correct. But you're working on that sort of basis. Also, what's going to be fascinating, and I can get my baby project in there as well, is this is the first real election where artificial intelligence will have a massive input on all the fake things, all the deep fakes, all the sort of funny recordings that are going to be coming out. I can guarantee there's going to be some very amusing ones coming soon, but do question everything.
Well, that brings me really nicely to the question this morning. If you were buying Rishi Sunak a Christmas present, what Christmas present would that be? And let me know why. 0344 499 1000. Text the word talk in your message to 87222. You can also tweet us at Talk TV. Now, just moving on, this is a lovely story. Pantomime and carol singing is proposed for UNESCO cultural status. Yes, British Christmas traditions such as pantomime, carol singing and wreath making could receive protected status. This is over the 2003 UNESCO Convention for Safeguarding Intangible Cultural Heritage. So traditions around the world are things like the Argentinian tango, the Belgian beer culture, and it protects crafts and so on in each of those countries, like Italian dry stone walling, for example. We're also, we've got things like the Tower of London in there, Fountains Abbey, which is a beautiful monument, also Giant's Causeway, they have World Heritage protection. This consultation is running, but things that would go into this could be Hogmanay, Burns Night, Shrove Tuesday, the Eisteddfod, Highland dancing, bagpipe playing, cheese rolling, love a bit of cheese.
Oh, we love a bit of rolling cheese. It's got to be good.
And male voice choirs.
Oh, is that right? Why not female voice choirs? I think that's just sexist. I think that's outrageous.
But I think what I love about this country, and actually every country, we have these extraordinary traditions, don't we? And the idea that you have a massive piece of cheese that you roll down a hill and everyone runs after it.
It's glorious, isn't it? It's rather like the Spanish chasing after the bull. I think ours is better. So we have more cheese, less bull.
We do. Now, this is a great story as well. I don't know if you saw this. So there was an interview done with Michelle Donnellan, the Science, Innovation and Technology Secretary. She was interviewing Dame Angela McLean.
Yes.
Did you see this?
Yes, I did.
So she took over as, from Sir Patrick Vallance as Chief Scientific Advisor. So they did this interview, and then when the cameras stopped rolling, she asked her another question, and she said, could I just ask, because you're the Chief Scientist?
Yes.
How does Santa get around the world so quickly?
Yes.
Well, we know the answer because they recorded it, but they didn't mean to put it out.
It was one of those sort of hot mic moments, wasn't it? I remember, yes.
Well, so according to the Chief Scientific Advisor, Father Christmas uses quantum entanglement to deliver presents to all the children in the world. So that sounds very exciting.
Quantum entanglement.
Yeah. And she said, I'm amazed that as Science Minister, you don't know about this. So this is the most interesting thing. She said, obviously, Father Christmas Christmas can't break the laws of physics, but we think that there are things that he uses to help him in that important job of making sure that every child in the world gets a present at the same time. So all the toys we now know are made in the North Pole.
All of them, yes.
All of them. And they are then put into a special state.
OK.
This is a state called entanglement. And so what then happens is, the minute the first child opens a present on Christmas morning, a child everywhere in the world gets a present.
Oh, isn't that clever?
Very
so you
clever.
Work that way. I understand, and scientists also in America, they worked out he does about 833 homes a second to make it make sense. And so that's glorious. And that was a hot mic moment. Better than the other hot mic moments we've had this year.
Indeed.
I love it.
So apparently there's one caveat, which is that it only works if children go to bed on time.
Good. And what's on time there?
When the parents tell them.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, that's not going to happen. Well, I don't know.
And the reason for that is because quantum physics deals with how tiny particles behave, how they exist in an entangled state. And because it's so fragile, if Father Christmas is disturbed, it could break that entangled state.
Oh, well, that's a really important lesson. I don't know about you, but as a child, I would never go to bed. I'm always restless, and I'm carried on until now. I never sleep. I catnap. Did you go to bed early? Did you do what your mum said?
Yeah, I was pretty good. And
morning, Mum, by the way.
Good morning, Mum.
We're so looking forward. I'm so looking forward to her coming to the studio today, but...
alas not. She didn't want to come in because she felt...
Because I was on.
No, she felt I might make a fool of her, which I wouldn't. Which
not that I'll be.
By the way, just very quickly, one more story, if we can. Now, obviously, Christmas, A&E is very busy over Christmas. So one of the things that you need to avoid, you need to be very careful. This is an article in the British Medical Journal, which is about the risk of opening champagne.
OK. I don't mind taking that risk.
I love this story. I know we talked about it very quickly yesterday, but I was looking at the pressures here. 750ml bottle of champagne or sparkling wine. The cork comes out three times the pressure of a standard car tyre. It launches a cork up to 13 metres at speeds of 80 kilometres an hour.
Good. Shall we try it? I think we should put this to the test. I think this is one of the things, I always say question everything, this is one of the things we should be trying a little bit later.
Well, we should, and actually yesterday, Claire Muldoon, and I don't know if you saw this, Claire Muldoon, terribly excited about the whole thing. She opened the champagne, hit the window, then we had Phil, the producer, wiping the champagne off the window. But what I love about this study, this was basically, in 2005, champagne bottle corks were responsible for 20% of eye injuries over the Christmas.
20%? Good heavens.
And this compares with bottle tops in the US.
Well, how do you do an eye injury with a bottle top? It's virtually impossible.
And it goes... So then... And I love this, because this is a very serious medical journal, and every year...
I get it.
Yeah, every year they do these rather fun stories.
What, about people losing eyes?
No, about champagne. Do be quiet. Now, they've actually issued guidance to stop this, which is you need to chill the bottle.
Oh, really?
I didn't know this, because when you chill the bottle, it reduces the pressure.
It does, and I'll tell you the other secret.
How do you know that?
I do a lot of champagne. I'll tell you the other thing is that rather than doing that and pushing the bottle so it goes everywhere, and you waste lots of time, you're right. You twist it, and once it's off, you tap it, and it stops it going everywhere. Best tip, the thing, you will never lose a drop of champagne again.
So that was the thing yesterday. Muldoon sprayed it all over the window. Useless. She's fired. She's absolutely fired. And the BMJ goes on to say, let us toast to an excellent new year. Keep the bubbly in the glass and the sparkle in our eyes.
Hey, look at them. Or what's left of one eye.
What? Christmas is a time of fun and jollity and frivolity. And Andrew, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Indeed. Time for a break now. After the break, we have our paper review. Joining us this morning, Sarah Tucker, author and travel journalist. This is Talk TV. Welcome back to Talk Today with me, David Bull. Time 7:25. Santa himself is here. Pardon? And what is that doing? Hello, it's Christmas. Sorry, yes. He's just dancing. I don't know if you saw that. Come on, then. Yeah. Dancing cactus. Oh, actually, someone messaged me about that. I'm very confused with your decorations. What has a guitar-playing cactus got to do with Christmas? Simon, all cacti play the guitar at Christmas. Thank you for that. Lots of other messages coming in as well. Oh, by the way, he dances.
They all dance,
Oh, can you see him? Yeah.
That's it.
Anyway, I'm being Shush. Right. Could you let Andrew... Shush. Stop it.
He's playing Santana. It was Santa playing Santana. It's got to be good.
It's all going horribly wrong. Could you let Andrew know it's unlikely his jacket... Shush!
What?
Would you let Andrew know
Yes.
it's unlikely his jacket would ever achieve UNESCO status as 3D TV never caught on? That's Wayne in Bury.
You wait for Scratch and Sniff. It's got to be good.
Good morning, says Alison. Good morning to you. Happy Christmas, Alison. I love Andrew's enthusiasm and passionate debate. I don't always agree with some discussions that take place. That being said, I love the balance, the passion and mischievousness of all of your shows. Wishing you a very Merry Christmas. And to you, Alison, I know, as you say here, you're in a very windy Suffolk. I'm looking forward to getting
love
back
Suffolk.
to the county of Suffolk, where apparently I live, although I never seem to... Yes,
Wasn't it flooded?
Thank you. Yes, I am aware of that.
Indoor swimming pool.
David, Andrew, you've got a word of warning here.
Oh, what's that?
Calm down, Andrew.
Oh, sorry. Wait till I have the coffee.
Stay off the eggnog, says Ian in Glasgow. Great show already. Thank you very much indeed. Lots of others about the King's speech as well. What's this here I hear about King Charles using his Christmas speech to push the green eco-death cult propaganda? Anyone for a slice of hypocrisy from the wealthy on Christmas Day? Brian, thank you for that.
Ho, ho, ho.
Also, I asked the question this morning, what would you give Rishi Sunak for Christmas? The number for that, 0344 499 1000. Text the word talk in your message to 87222 or tweet us at Talk TV. Well, this one is Andrea in Swansea. I would put Rishi Sunak on a military plane to Rwanda and I would confiscate his passport. One more in that vein. This is Max. Good morning to you. Good morning, David and Andrew. Very Merry Christmas to you both. I would buy Rishi Sunak a backbone, as he clearly doesn't have one.
And your listeners and viewers are normally so nice. Poor old Rishi.
I think I opened the floodgates with that question, didn't I, really? So thank you very much. Keep all of those coming in, please. All your messages and thoughts on this fantastic Christmas Eve. Well, time for this morning's papers. Joining us this morning, Sarah Tucker, author and travel journalist. Very good morning to you.
Good morning.
You look very festive.
Well, I think I look a bit disco. Sort of.
We love disco.
She's getting up.
She's getting up. Give us a move. Look at you with your silver trousers.
But sort of like,
I love it.
But I left the earrings in the car.
And it should come with a national elf warning. I like your little elf ears.
Oh dear, yes. Well, this was here already when I came here, but
it's a second-hand elf ear.
It does actually suit you.
It does.
Yes.
I like hats.
Do you?
Yeah. Yes. I sort of like.
So it's really interesting. I don't think we wear hats enough in this country. I mean, certainly for men, we used to wear them a great deal, and then of course they fell out of fashion and vogue, didn't they? And they are coming back, I think.
I think you've got to have confidence to wear them. Like I wear a waterproof one a lot of the time because I don't have an umbrella. Because umbrellas, as we've recently discovered, they either get blown away or broken.
Yes.
And they get in people's eyes. So hats, I just think, but you've got to have confidence to wear them. You've got to have style. Don't you wear a hat?
Do you think I have confidence? I was shy and retiring. I can wear a hat. I love a hat. I wear a top hat. I like those really tall hats, which are great.
When do you wear a top hat?
Oh, well, never. I'm just bantering.
But you've got the caps
I've
now.
got yes,
like
I think
beret.
you're right.
I could see you in a beret.
Could you see me in a beret? Would I have a little bit of a French accent?
So I have a problem. It ruins my hair. That's the problem.
I think you're right. Your hair is so glorious. You don't want to do that.
No. So Sarah, really good to see you. Just for people who don't know what you do, you are an author. You've written some amazing books. Just tell people what you've written.
Right. Well, I have spoken to you before, albeit on Zoom.
I know.
A lot of my books are about travel, but I've been I write women's fiction. So I've written books, The Last Year of Being Single, The Last Year of Being Married, one that did very well back in 2006 called The Playground Mafia, about highly competitive parents who make the lives of other competitive parents
Are there such things?
very, very difficult.
I do.
Have you been to a school?
It's a global phenomenon, actually. Although it was published in 2006, it's probably more relevant now than it was when it was first published.
It is poisonous, and good for you for calling it out, because actually it's horrible what happens, and people use their children as weapons against other parents, don't they? And it's all about one-upmanship and so on and so forth.
Well, I think it's not just about the children, it's actually about them, that they feel that they haven't achieved enough in life, so they dump it onto their children.
So interesting. They're almost channeling themselves into the kids, aren't they?
Very much so. And I don't think that, I still work actually in schools. I teach. One of the other things that I do, I'm a bit of a polymath. I teach.
Polymath is good.
It's too early in the morning to sort of say. But I teach, I specialise in teaching teenagers yoga, 13 to 14-year-olds. They're year 9s in the state school, and it's usually the year that teachers find the most challenging with them, because they have yet to really choose the subjects that they like. So and also they're going through, I always think it's like early menopause, all the hormonal changes. And I teach them in state schools in southwest London, and they love it. They really love it, and I find it probably one of the most worthwhile things I do. And I teach the teachers as well, because it's all very well having chilled out teenagers, but if you've got the teachers who are stressed, so I teach, and those things I find are just so worthwhile doing.
Yeah, and also I think for children it's such a mix of emotions, isn't it? And their brains are still developing, and they're all sort of squidgy, and it's too much to take in. Just in terms of yoga, and I'm quite fascinated by that. It's not something I've ever tried, but it is really a workout, not just for your body but your mind.
Yes, well, definitely. In fact, it is all about the breathing. It is all about, you know, people talk about mindfulness without really thinking what it is about. A lot of people think about yoga on the physical aspects, but you know, if you're game, I can show you some yoga poses later on. But as long as you're both game,
I'm not sure I'm ready to see Andrew sprawled all over the floor.
I do my bending dog. I'll tell you, talking of yoga, I saw the other day they have yoga with puppies as well now.
Yes, I know.
Isn't that glorious? So you do your yoga poses
and
all
goats.
these puppies and goats. Oh, the goats stand on top of you, don't they? Oh, that's glorious. No kidding.
Gordon Ramsay does it. No,
Gordon Ramsay stands on top of you. I don't want to do that.
Am I awake at this point?
That doesn't slap. You can slap yourselves.
Come on, I know my yoga stuff. This is good.
It's true. It is true.
Thank
You don't strike me. I'm trying to be kind as someone who does a lot of yoga.
Oh no, the yoga's got nothing to do with your waistline.
Oh, that's just wealth.
This has cost a fortune, I can tell you.
You can be any shape and size. I've taught 3 to 4 year olds, and I've also taught people in their 90s in care homes.
Oh, isn't that lovely?
The only thing I'm concerned about when I teach the 90-year-olds is that I don't want them to die on me, but the relatives have assured me that. But to be frank, if it's to do with the breathing and when they're really relaxed, but the relatives assure me that actually, if they're going to go, it's actually really nice way to go.
Well, and so one of the things that you were talking to me about outside was the fact this is about also developing a way to think. I think this is absolutely priceless, because I don't think we give ourselves enough time to think. We talk a great deal about politicians giving answers immediately. They haven't thought it through. The pace of modern life is so fast that sometimes it's really important just to step back and stop, breathe, think.
David, you're spot on. In fact, in the context I was talking to you about, I've got a book coming out next year. The launch is going to be at the House of Lords.
What's the date? It's in there.
It's called Love.
He'll go anywhere for champagne.
It's actually to do with the biography of Edward de Bono, who invented the concept of lateral thinking.
He did, absolutely.
And lateral thinking, people, when they think of lateral thinking, they think out of the box. It's actually in the Oxford English Dictionary. And he was a sort of an academic, a science, a visionary, a solutionist, if you like. And he thought it was really important, this is what we were talking about before we came on air, about introducing thinking classes into schools, teaching children how to think rather than what to think.
Brilliant.
Not making them followers, but actually giving them what he called design thinking. And in the book I interviewed the late Prince Philip, Rory Sutherland, Dave Trott, the advertising gurus, Sir Tony Blair, he worked with him on education. So and he's had incredible, de Bono had incredible success before social media was invented. And global phenomenon. Thinking classes are the mainstay in Singapore, they're in China, certain parts of America. His books are on the bookshelves of politicians, of leading chief execs.
They're on my bookshelf as well. I've got it. No, I mean, it's fantastic books.
Well, people think of Six Thinking Hats, a lot of people, management consultants. So the book is out because people wanted to find out more about him, and he was quite an interesting guy. He was a multi-millionaire, but he died with £11,000 in his account. He did
well to get rid of it, otherwise it all goes in tax. So. Clever man. He thought about that, you see.
Interesting, but sort of like most of the obituaries, well, a lot of them weren't exactly positive, and actually after his death he left very, very strong emotions, not all of them good. His view on journalists, as I mentioned this before, was that they they focused on attack, gimmick and human angle. I think he has a point there, but I think it's just a different way. To a degree. And he didn't think much of politicians. He
probably wise.
Some of them. But he felt that a lot of politicians focus on their fluency of style rather than their integrity of thinking, which comes back to your very point that they don't actually really know how to think.
David has both, though. He has integrity and fluidity in speaking.
You need both.
What do you want?
Champagne, that was promised.
You need both. And also that we get stuck in the intelligence trap and the ego trap about I'm intelligent, I know best. And also he wrote a book in 1990 called I Am Right, You Are Wrong, about the whole problem with critical thinking, about everything is focused on arguments. So we're, for example, going to have the elections next year. The parties and the individuals are going to bash each other to pieces in order to win. So in the end, we are going to end up with a wounded winner. And they should work together.
And that's kind of what I was saying, which is it needs to be thoughtful and constructive. Just very quickly, we must go to the papers.
I'm so sorry. I was waffling on.
But just very quickly, there's something fascinating in that, because when you speak to children, they are tangential when they talk to you, and they go off in different things. And I think we, as society, constrain children. Don't be ridiculous, you can't think that. You know, when children say amazing things like, well, why can't I fly to the moon? All of that stuff is really, really important.
Yeah. Totally. In fact, I think it's Ken Robinson. He did his famous TED Talk about the way education channels thinking like that, and it should go like that.
I agree.
It goes like that, and it still does, and we're still talking about it, and nothing's done about it. So I hope in my little way with this book will trigger more thinking about thinking.
OK, I think we haven't got time for the front pages. Well, can we try and do them very quickly? Very quickly. Let's just start, because if you are just waking up... Sorry, that's a fascinating conversation.
I'm so sorry about that.
I'm now fired again. Let's start with the Sunday Times if we can. Lots of stories here. NHS chairman, doctor strikes makes me fear for patients. We talked about that yesterday. Also, Reform UK's cast iron pledge to fight the Tories. We talked about that earlier on. This is also interesting. Michelle Moan says, I've been treated like Pablo Escobar. Her assets have now been frozen. She's under investigation by the National Crime Agency as well over this procurement of PPE. Moving on to the Sunday Telegraph, a very important article actually, which says from David Cameron, the Foreign Secretary, malign Iran is the threat to the world. He talks about Iran being behind Hamas, Hezbollah, also the Houthis in Yemen, and taking a very tough line there. Moving on to the Mail. This is the King's speech, which will be tomorrow. Eco-activist King's Green Christmas Day message. The King will use his Christmas broadcast to deliver a powerful message about the environment. Even the tree is a living tree. It's been taken out. It's basically potted with the roots. It's got eco-decorations on it as well. And once the festivities are over, it will be replanted. Quite like that, actually. Sunday Express, not sure about the message, we'll see tomorrow. Sunday Express, don't let Scrooges drag you down. Jeremy Hunt last night blasted the economic Scrooges who are talking Britain down. Well, perhaps actually if we had some growth in this country, we might actually get behind him. It's a bit smoke and mirrors, that, in my opinion. The Sunday Mirror, Home Secretary's sick date rape drug joke. We'll talk about that in just a minute, so I'll hold off on that. A subject, as you know, we spoke about it yesterday, very close to my heart. Assisted dying former health chiefs join calls for a new law. This is on the back of Esther Ranson saying she has actually joined Dignitas. This story baffles me completely. The Sun on Sunday, TV Jess dumps love rat Pennant. This is Jermaine Pennant. He's been dumped by TV star Jess Impiazzi after she accused him of spending the night with a dominatrix. She was told by pals that ex-footballer Jermaine told... Look, I'm reading it all out now.
It's a bit sort of like... It's a bit like gold, frankincense and there, isn't it, that one?
Well, no, because the more I'm reading... Look,
yes, you quite like it.
Well, yes, because ex-footballer Jermaine, who's 40, took the adult entertainer to his hotel room on a stag do in Ibiza.
Well, he couldn't afford a dominatrix, so they had a whip round for him.
Oh, stop it. Right, taxi. Right, moving on, Sunday People. Celebrity Big Brother's £500,000 lure for Fergie. So,
I hope she doesn't do it.
They're desperate to get her.
Oh, I hope she does do it.
Would you do it for $500,000 quid?
No.
Why not? I don't do it for a fiver.
I'd be there like a shot for £500,000 quid, let me tell you. I don't know, this is a polarising story in the Daily Star front page.
Yes.
Mammy Mia, love it or loathe it, Mrs Brown's Boys is back tomorrow. Its creator, Brendan Carroll, says, I don't care about people who slag it off, saying it brings joy to kids with autism. Are you a fan?
I've never watched it. It's awful.
Don't
I should
bother.
watch it.
You
I should watch it.
You need to watch it. It's very funny.
It's not
popular.
funny.
Well, no, but I'm
It's
saying
popular
to
TV,
provide
but-
balance. I may agree with you. There are elements of it which are very funny, and I think you should watch it.
Where
so you can
are
make
the
an
elements?
opinion.
Yes,
that are
exactly.
The elements
So
are
I,
going to come
can't,
out
so I
tomorrow.
can't make an opinion on it.
Can't
I will
make an
watch it
opinion.
tomorrow.
And a lot of people just regurgitate that without
Yes.
seeing it. So I see, watch it and make your own mind.
I just don't get it.
Don't you?
Why is it good?
Why is it good? Because it's different. It's that sort
But
of
Stanley
breaking
Baxter.
the fourth.
It's sort of, is it like a Stanley Baxter?
Everything's derivative, though,
Right.
isn't it? Everything's derivative, and it all breaks the fourth wall, and you come out, and there's a man in a dress, and it's
But
playing
that's
with
as
the
old as
audience.
time. That's pantomime.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
Where's your career? Behind you.
Right, enough. Will you stop? Will you stop? We've got to get onto the papers.
Calm down. You need yoga. You need yoga.
He does need you. Right, so I have to go to a break. Shall we do? Will you behave? Can we go first? Let's do this quickly because I have to get to a break. The Daily Mirror. I mentioned this story, which is about James Cleverly, I believe. Tell us more.
Well, the thing is, he said something very inappropriate, and I've always thought politicians, they're very, or they should be very careful and practiced about what they say. And actually suggesting that it's someone who is always mildly sedated, so she can never realise there are better men out there. Suggesting that he would give his wife a date rape jug, I just think is stupid. It's stupid. It's just that, and he'll probably apologise for it and say it's not true. But these people should be practicing.
Well,
what they
so he will say it was a private reception at number 10.
Yeah, he said it was ironic, is what he said.
Quipped that only a little bit of Rohypnol in her drink would be useful, which I agree is not funny. And obviously, this is the reason this is a story is because, of course, he's just announced this crackdown on spiking of drinks, which is a major problem where people go to nightclubs and have their drinks spiked with goodness knows what.
It is so stupid. And what happens, I always say history repeats itself because we don't learn the lessons from history.
No.
Politicians joking about these things, and he meant it as a joke. He doesn't mean that's what he's really doing. But it's a stupid joke for the reasons you mentioned.
Yeah, it is stupidity. But they should be able to, they should know by now, they should know it by rote, what to say, what you can say, what you can't say.
That's my point, because you turn around and say it's crazy on that sort of basis.
But let's go back to your point right at the beginning. More time for thinking.
But they don't. No. They don't. And also, it's ego. They've fallen into the ego trap. I'm here, so I know better. Also, it's something actually De Bono said, is that people who are very good at winning debates are not very good at finding solutions, because if you've won the argument, why bother to find the solution?
So interesting.
That is interesting.
I think one of the other things, and I will go to a break, otherwise I will be shot, but it's about introspection. I meet lots of people, obviously, given that I am a journalist and a politician, yes. I meet lots of people with no introspection who believe they are right at all times. And I look at them and think, how can you ever be like that? I constantly question myself.
I think that is really important. As I said, that's the thing that in that book, I Am Right, You Are Wrong, that came out. And actually, even in the recent Doctor Who, there was a recent Doctor Who, it was called The Giggle.
That's right.
And it was about everyone believing that they are right. And the issues that arose if you always believe you're right, and the conflict that arises, and it just causes conflict. You can see basically the wars stay the same. It's just that the continents change, the people argue. It's just that the names change. We do not learn.
You have to question everything, and it's so well written. The Doctor Who is.
Yes, it is incredibly
good.
I'm a Whovian.
We're all Whovian.
I'm a fan. Right. So on that note, Rishi Sunak needs to think, doesn't he? What Christmas present would you give Rishi Sunak? Let us know. This is Talk TV. Welcome back to Talk Today with me, David Bull, and my little friendly cactus. 7:47, Sunday, December the 24th, Christmas Eve. Santa himself, Andrew Eborn, is with us. Sarah Tucker also with us this morning. So many messages. Thank you very much indeed. Good morning, Dr. John in Links, says one of our regulars. Good morning to you, John. He needs to be lit better, actually. Just noticed. Merry Christmas to you and Andrew. Your shows are the only ones I've watched live for the last year. How very kind. Thank you.
Nice?
Andrew is so right about opening bubbly. Hold the cork and twist the bottle. Let me tell you, Andrew's had a lot of practice. A lot of practice.
That's true. I'm looking forward to more. It's going to be good.
Well, indeed. Drinks later, actually.
I'm looking forward to
We're
that.
doing Christmas drinks at 9:30.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like
9:30?
Well, yesterday we. It's far too late. Let's move it up to 8. Good morning, David. Rishi doesn't deserve a Christmas present, but when the time comes, I'll give him a P45. John in Manchester. Lots of others actually saying the same thing. This one in Dorset, S from Dorset says I'd send him a resignation letter to sign. A resignation letter.
Resignation,
Put my teeth, and now I put my teeth in. This is quite funny. John in Maidstone says, good morning, David. I would buy Rishi Sunak a manual on how to transfer WhatsApp messages. It's quite good, that. I quite like that. Keep all of those coming in, please. Helen in Lincoln said I would give Rishi Sunak a one-way ticket to the United States, but I won't because he's already got one. Thank you. Keep all of those coming in as well. Another P45 from Rich there as well. Right, we're going through the papers with Sarah. Well, not really.
We haven't stopped talking. We're still going to do the yoga poses.
Plugging books, talk about
well, let's not do the papers. Let's do yoga.
You want to do yoga?
I think your producer will have a heart attack.
He already is having a heart attack. Yes, I think he's actually started on the Christmas cocktails. OK, so we mentioned this earlier about the king and his sustainable tree. Jeremy Clarkson's also having Christmas. I think we're all having Christmas.
I think we're all having Christmas.
Well, actually, his sort of like in the Sunday Times. I like his comments in the Sunday Times. We're killing the planet, not if Earth gets us first. And as a travel journalist as well, I recently went to World Travel Market. Then there's a lot on not just sustainable and responsible travel, but regenerative travel.
I was there. Was that the Excel Centre?
Yes,
I was there.
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me.
I didn't see you. You weren't wearing the atlas.
And Rwanda had a stand, which I found extraordinary. So these were all the different countries, all the different places saying, come and visit us, come and visit us.
You go around the world in a day, easily.
And what I loved, there was Wuhan was there as well, so they had lots of pictures. I was on Wuhan.
It's not on the top of my list, Wuhan.
Nothing to sneeze at, I can tell you.
Oh, very good.
So Rwanda was there, weren't they?
I know, and actually the travel industry are really trying hard. They are trying hard in trying to get people, if they travel, to really think about not only maintaining sort of like the status quo when they go to places, but actually making them better after they've left them.
Yes.
And I went to something called the Blue Earth Summit in Bristol earlier this year, and there was a lot about different ways of giving back to the planet. And Jeremy Clarkson, and this is the consensus actually, if it won't be us destroying the Earth will get rid of us. He mentioned about all the volcanoes and all the things that are happening all over the place. I think the Earth will get rid of us first.
And that's very interesting. It's about an ecosystem, actually, and there's a lot written about the way the Earth changes. We are so tight on time now. Poetry's becoming popular very quickly.
Poetry's becoming popular, and again, I think this is really good. I was recently at studying at Cambridge University at Homerton, and I was working with the poet in residence, Mariah Whelan, and she was always saying that it's a pity poetry isn't appreciated. And so when I see this piece in The Observer, it's sort of like new wave of people's poets gives verse its highest ever sales figures. I think that's excellent because, again, coming back to thinking, it makes you think in a different way, different perspectives. The fact that people are actually writing poetry, not just reading it. It's not some of these dry, when you sort of like you do it in English literature. People are actually putting it online. It's speaking poetry. I know you remember Pam Ayres, but it's a lot of
I like Pam Ayres. She was glorious. And I liked your alliteration. It was pity poetry isn't appreciated.
But Pam Ayres, the reason that worked was that wonderful West Country accent, wasn't
she glorious? Whose show was she on? Do you remember? It was like
Yarwood.
Oh, yes, that was great.
Look at me knowing that.
Brilliant, there you go.
Interesting about poetry, I'm not a fan.
I think, haven't you ever written any poetry? There's poetry in my book.
It's rubbish.
Oh, look, here's a book.
In this book.
And this one's on Edward de Bono.
No, that was the intelligent guy.
I'm afraid, Sarah, we've run out of time. Thank you so much. I wish you a very happy Christmas as well.
You too. And
happy Christmas.
And we didn't get to do the tree poses.
I will tree this. I will do it another time. We'll branch out.
What's the tree pose?
Tree pose. Stand on one leg.
Right, like
do you want to stand on one leg?
No, I don't.
No, we're going to twig.
Go to America.
We're going to twig.
I've got to
stand on one leg.
Okay, I've done it.
Okay, whilst we do this, it's time for Transatlantic Talk.
I love it, thank you.
Transatlantic Talk with Caroline Faraday.
Yeah, Yeah, Caroline Faraday. It's carnage here, Caroline.
It sounds like you've all hit the Baileys.
Not yet. Not yet. I've seen you hit the Baileys in a past life.
I've seen you hit the Baileys, my friend.
Well, we do go back a very long way, don't we? I mean, obviously, we're only 21 now, anyway. So let's go through your stories. Actually, let's just dial it down, because your first story, it's very sad, actually.
Yeah, really, really sad. So Laura Lynch, who was the founding member of the Dixie Chicks, really influential country band, bluegrass band. She was the founding member of the band back in 1989. Really sad news out of Texas tonight. She died in a car crash and sort of deceased at the scene in a head-on crash there in El Paso. So very sad news, and the music world in mourning.
Yeah, really sad, actually. I like the Dixie Chicks, actually. She was just 65. Actually, this is a very sobering message about road traffic accidents at Christmas, and, of course, it's really important that people take care at Christmas as they try and get around the country. Then let's move on to your next story, which is about Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, so here's what's going to happen. Jeffrey Epstein, there's been a lot of speculation, hasn't there, about the involvement of rich and powerful people in trafficking, in all of his pretty terrible shenanigans. Let's put it that way. Anyway, 150 names mentioned in court documents will be released. A lot of speculation about what those will be. Actually, it may not be a sort of list of the world's rich and powerful, which I think a lot of people
Indeed, and this is the judgment by Loretta Preska, isn't it? And, of course, there are a lot of people who will be having quite a difficult Christmas wondering if they are going to be named.
Well, not all those people put on a sweat, so it'll be all right for some of them. But it'll actually include some employees, some witnesses, actually some sex abuse victims. So it won't necessarily be sort of people that we think it might include or could speculate that it would include, or people who might get a bit hot under the collar should they be the kind of person who sweats.
Fascinating. One to watch there. America is an extraordinary country. As I've said, it's not one country, it's 50 countries. What's happened in Colorado, and how does it affect Donald Trump?
So, you know, how many times have we talked about how everything gets resolved here in court and things that you would not expect to get resolved in court? And this is one of these things that has gone to court, and it's been challenged in a few different states, different laws, different states, that kind of thing. So Colorado made a judgment in their Supreme Court that Donald Trump's name could not be on the ballot for what's called the primary election. So the primaries are when they go and choose their candidate. And, of course, he is the leading candidate, although he hasn't taken part in any of the debates, but he is still considered to be the leading candidate for the Republican Party. And they've said, well, there's this law that's part of the Constitution that says that if you were involved in an insurrection, then you cannot hold office. Lot of debate about what that wording means, whether that includes the presidency, whether it doesn't. Anyway, the Supreme Court in Colorado voted on this, and 4-3 they decided that, yes, it does mean that he cannot hold court. So it's a sort of official confirmation that he did partake in an insurrection. But here's where it's going to continue and rumble on, because actually what will happen is the Trump camp will appeal.
Of course.
And they'll appeal to the Supreme Court. And this is where the courts get quite political, because you might recall there were 3 Supreme Court justices appointed during Trump's term, and that starts to become quite significant when you're talking about the political weighting of the Supreme Court. But so whether or not it will actually sustain, I feel a little more sceptical about, because I don't think that they will get the votes in the Supreme Court.
No,
ultimately.
and of course, look, this is going to play to Trump, isn't it? He's going to say democracy denied. This is a constitutional crisis for the United States. It all plays to his hand.
Yeah, it all plays to his base. I mean, that's no reason for people not to do things, remember, that are a part of the legal process. But yes, it does allow Trump to have that narrative of, you know, I'm a victim and this is, you know, not democracy, and that plays very well for his base here. And obviously, as usual, it just plays into the huge political divides in this country, which just don't seem to be going away and coming to sort of any sort of mutual understandings at all.
No, indeed. Caroline, thank you so much for all your hard work this year. Where are you staying for Christmas? Are you in Los Angeles?
I will be in Los Angeles and I will be cooking, so brace yourself.
I'll pop over. Caroline, well, I would love that too. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas and a great New Year. Caroline Faraday, thank you very much over there in the United States. That was today's Transatlantic Talk.
Transatlantic Talk with Caroline Faraday.
Ah, there she is over in the United States. So many messages coming in. This is so sweet. Dr. David, I love your shows and the chaos. Chaos? I would put the whole of government on a one-way rocket to the moon. Merry Christmas to all of you in the studio. Do not ever change. We won't. This is Talk TV.
This is Talk TV.
Hello, very good morning to you. Oh, you can't see that. Very good morning to you. It's just after 8 o'clock now on Sunday, December the 24th. Yes, it's Christmas Eve. Thank you very much indeed for your company this morning, wherever you are in this great country or indeed around the world. I look ridiculous. Great news, though. Great news for you, because today is Eggnog Day. Yeah, I agree, yeah. Happy birthday also to Carol Vorderman, who is 63 today. And, of course, yes, happy birthday to you, Carol. Gosh, I haven't seen Carol for ages since I think we shared a meal in Pizza Express. But we did, actually, but a long time ago. It's Christmas Eve. It wasn't in Windsor, no. It's Christmas Eve, which means just one more sleep to go until Christmas.
Remember to leave the carrots out for Rudolph.
Well said. Good advice. Right, let's start today's show with our fascinating facts.
Today's fascinating facts.
So, on this day in 1904, the London Coliseum opened with the first ever revolving stage in Britain. On this day in 1914, a sobering note this, in the First World War, not a shot was fired as German and British soldiers played football and they handed out drinks, cigars and souvenirs. It was possibly the most poignant moment of what was called the Great War. And for several days afterwards, the two sides appeared reluctant to fire on the men they had met face to face. And the question is, do we ever learn from war? On this day in 1965, a meteorite weighing 45 kilos fell on Britain. That's more than half my weight. Fell on Britain on the village of Barwell in Leicestershire. The question is, what did Barwell do to deserve that? In 1979, the first European Ariane rocket was launched, and the project was Western Europe's second attempt to develop its own launcher following the unsuccessful Europa project. And of course, I would remember this very vividly, wouldn't I? On this day in 2020 at 2:45, and after 4.5 years of legal wrangling, the EU and the United Kingdom reached a post-Brexit trade deal. And those are today's fascinating facts. Talking about annoying lawyers. Andrew, a lovely chicken.
Hello, thank you. Thank you.
Hen,
that was
turkey.
the cleanest line I've heard from you about this hat. It's got to be good.
It is. We look absolutely ridiculous. Do you know, on a very serious note, something else happened today.
Yes.
On this day in 2013, Alan Turing was pardoned.
What I love about Alan Turing...
Just remind everyone who Alan Turing is.
So he was the one with the Enigma code, Bletchley Park, 1950. Whenever I'm talking about artificial intelligence, AI, he is front and centre of that. And what I also love, I didn't know you can do this, what I also love, if you get out your £50 notes, he is the guy who appears on the back of one. So that is Alan Turing. Look at that.
I didn't know that because I don't have a £50
I have my one. It's Christmas. I've got many.
Okay. All right. No, go on.
Oh, spent already.
It went. But because actually you're a magician, aren't you?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. We're here all week. It's always a joy.
Yeah.
But so what I love about that, yes, Alan Turing, we should talk about him because his differently wired brain basically solved, they cracked the code at Bletchley Park.
And it just shows, doesn't it, that that was such a breakthrough, and that movie, The Imitation Game, is so brilliant. I think it tells the story of a very tortured man, but actually he solved the war. He ended the war.
And actually, on a very serious note, there are a lot of people today who lived through that era when this was illegal, and they're now working out. He's the poster boy, and I think you need to work on that sort of premise that there's some horrible times, some dark times, and gladly we've moved on from it.
So I agree, and actually my friend Jamie Green made a very passionate speech in the Scottish Parliament about the role of gay people and the contribution to society, and particularly in the armed forces. And of course many of them were expelled from the armed forces for simply being the people that they are. And of course these are people who rose through the ranks, who commanded great legions of people, and who contributed to this country, and the way we treated them, I think, is absolutely
Paul. And it's good to call it out, so well done.
Thank you. Also, for children out there, and I don't know if you know this, but it's a really important, because we were talking about Santa, and the reason that Santa can deliver all those presents is quantum physics. It's very clever.
I love that.
And we know that from the chief scientific officer, who was caught off camera explaining quantum physics. Moment. Yes, a hot mic moment. Well, this is really important, and someone's just reminded me about this. If for children you want to follow where Santa is, how many parcels does he do?
Well, zillions, and I worked it out with scientists in America. It's 833 households a second is what he does. So looking at that sort of stuff, but they've been trying to work this out forever. So what are they saying now?
So if you want to follow where Santa is at the moment and his travels, you go to a website. It's NORAD's Santa.
Oh, that's right.
This is the US Air Defence. They track him, and they have done for 60 years.
Isn't that incredible?
Amazing.
I love
so
it.
you can see exactly where Santa is. Also, for children watching out there, what we learned from the chief scientific officer is you only will get presents if you go to bed when your parents tell you.
I know. I was so bad at that. And I tell you what, that's a good lesson. Naughty or nice list.
So we used to get a stocking, and I remember going to bed, and I would wake up like every 5 minutes, and then touch the stocking to see if anything was there.
Isn't that right?
And then there was a time, then obviously, and I woke up and there was stuff in it, and then that was the beginning of Christmas.
It was so exciting. I loved it.
Are you on the good list or the naughty list?
Now let's have a think about that, shall we? Definitely the naughty list. Definitely. Lots of other messages coming in as well. David, your show is brilliant today. Thank you so much. Both you and Andrew have excelled yourselves today. Rennie is on a boring island and has missed out. You look so lovely in your snowman hat. I wish I lived next door to you. Karen.
Oh, really?
That's lovely.
Is she your next door neighbour?
No, she wants to live next door.
Oh, she wants to live next door to you.
Thank you, Karen. That's very sweet of you.
Who's there at the moment?
What?
Who's there at the moment? They can sell it to her.
No, they can't. Okay. Well, I think they're busy. They've just bought it, actually.
Oh, they're all good.
Yes. And someone wants to know why a cucumber.
Where's a cucumber? It's not a cactus.
It's a cactus. It's a Christmas cactus.
It's a bald. It could be a bald cactus. Could be a cucumber. Oh, that's good.
Anyway, so talking about Christmas, and this is a time of tradition, and there are lots of strange things that we do in this country, and it got me thinking about strange things that happen in other countries, because Christmas is celebrated in very different ways around the world. Well, joining us now is Vicky Mizzy, who's a journalist and broadcaster. Good morning and happy Christmas.
Morning, Vicky.
Good morning and happy Christmas to you, David and Andrew. I'm afraid I'm hatless. Sorry.
Why not? Why?
I just don't have... I've put some bows in.
Good, okay.
But do a bit of kinky...
Well done. Yep, 2 out of 10. Right, so just talk us through this, because I was just thinking about this, and I got friends across the world who were wishing me a happy Christmas. Feliz Navidad from friends in Spain, for example. There are some very odd customs around the world, aren't there?
There are, and I shall kick off, because I've got quite a few to cram in.
Yes,
I'll kick off with something I am going to attempt to pronounce, which is going to cause havoc, I'm sure. La quema del diablo. which translates as as the burning of the devil.
Ooh.
And this is a festival, a tradition that happens in Central America, in Guatemala.
Right.
And it basically involves, as you can see now, burning of devils.
Oh my goodness!
Quite literally.
It's literally cleansing your home, because the devil's believed to exist in people's homes, hiding behind your cooker and your wherever else, you know, causing just bad vibes, basically. And people gather across the country to burn an effigy of the devil to do this. And apparently that cleanses you of everything that's happened, everything negative which may have befallen you over the previous year.
Wow.
And yes, this has been going on since the 17th century, apparently.
Well, there we are.
Well, there you go. Look at that.
You've got a few devils to burn.
I know, behind my refrigerator.
Well, indeed.
I can tell you.
I know. That's really good. So what's that called again? That's La Cuema del Diablo.
Del Diablo.
Del Diablo. Muy bien, muy bien.
Diablo in it.
Sí, hablo un poquito español.
¿Qué tal?
Muy bien, gracias. Right, that's enough of that.
Yep.
Let's next one.
What I thought was quite nice with that, sorry, I just wanted to mention with the burning of the devil, was that people gather afterwards and drink hot fruit punch and eat donuts called buñuelos. I probably said that wrong as well. So they're sort of, you know, doing this awful devil burning thing, and then afterwards they're sort of having a great old time.
I mean, I wonder where all that comes from. It's that spirituality.
Oh, it is. It's all about cleansing and many biblical things. It's all about, that's what you do, fire and water and donuts.
Yes.
That's the
so
secret
these
to religion.
raw elements.
Yeah, you've got to do it. It's all about the elements, and especially the donuts. You work on that principle.
I'm sold on the donuts.
We like that.
Yeah, really like that. Next.
From donuts to KFC and Japan.
It's true.
Because what happens in Japan, apparently, who don't themselves have Christmas as a holiday, a marketing campaign was ran by KFC, which you can see, and its slogan, Kurisu Masu ni wa Kentucky.
Very good.
Meaning, let's go for Kentucky this Christmas. And Christmas Eve, everybody goes for these, and they're specially designed with Christmas packaging. The family goes out on this non-national holiday, but everybody goes, apparently. And that's what's happening all over Japan.
That's amazing. What a brilliant marketing.
I love Japan. I go there fairly often.
Do you?
There's the legend. I don't know if I can tell you this time of the morning. Maybe I can. The legend in Japan is what happened is they misunderstood a lot of the English traditions, and one big department store in Ginza basically had Santa Claus on a cross, which totally misunderstood the concept, but that's what happened. But interesting. No, Japan is a glorious country, but KFC is what they normally have.
Wow.
Have you had KFC for Christmas?
Can't say I have. Have you?
Well, no, but I did go past the lines when I was hurrying back with my pigs in blankets.
Right.
And saw that the fast food chains were quite busy, so I think everyone's given up.
Do you know, I have to say, on the way here at whatever ungodly hour, I saw lots of young people outside fast food restaurants, all looking a little worse for wear.
Their Saturday night was continuing, wasn't it?
It was priceless. And I looked out the window and thought, I used to do that. You know, how times have changed.
I was in that queue. That's how you picked me up from the studio.
That's right. Yes, I was there. So do you like KFC, by the way? Do you like a KFC?
Do I like it?
Yes.
I'm not a massive fan.
Right.
But I think if I were in Japan...
Well,
they love it. Other fast foods are available.
Well, indeed. Do you like turkey?
No.
Now,
do you?
I think this is an age thing.
Yeah. Oh, do you?
I do. I think young people don't like turkey.
Oh, I hate turkey.
That's very kind of me, David. I think I might be in the...
You're a youngster. I think as you get older, you probably do. Well, it's also how it's cooked and how moist it is.
Oh, you have to have it moist.
Yes,
thank you. The other thing you have to do is, because in our family we're half American, so we
yes, you are.
We are.
That's the sensible half.
I'm the very sensible half. So we have turkey at Thanksgiving.
Oh, yes.
And as a result, we don't have it at Christmas.
What do you have? Goose?
We have goose, and you can have
do you have
beef.
Goose?
I do. We love goose. Best roast potatoes ever are made from goose fat. So the goose starts out at that size and it goes down to this, and then swims in a sea of fat. But you cook your roasties in there, and it's glorious.
Right, thanks for that. What's next?
We've got Bad Santa.
Oh.
In Austria, and this is referring to this creature, this ghoul called Krampus, which even the name Krampus.
Right. Krampus. Right.
Krampus,
Okay.
which instead of, it's kind of offering a different incentive to children.
That's
You'll
terrifying.
be got by this.
Oh my
terrifying.
goodness! Look at him.
Therein lies my choice of this tradition, because it gets bad children. So in the month of December, these masked figures can be seen out and about, pranking people, scaring children. But the photos that I've seen have shown me that people have a sort of this, not
So,
this one particularly.
So for people listening on the radio, these are terrifying Santas. These have got horns. They're gnarled. They've got lots of wrinkles and nasty teeth, and so the idea behind this is what, to frighten people, is it?
Frighten children.
Why would you want to frighten children? To behave, probably.
Well, yes, into behaving. So it's sort of like, instead of having Santa saying, you know, if you're good, here's a present, it's, if you're bad, I'll get you.
Krampus comes along. Good heavens.
Wow.
Is that all?
I didn't do any translation from German there.
I don't know if you heard this earlier, but we saw this leaked recording from the Chief Scientific Officer. Amazing about how Father Christmas gets around with quantum physics.
I heard about the quantum physics.
Amazing.
I can't follow that, really.
No, it's so clever, and I didn't know, even as someone, you know, had a scientific background, I didn't know that. OK, let's move on. Which country are we going to next?
Let's go to Holland.
OK, why not? The Netherlands. It's like Eurovision, this.
It is. I thank you. Nil point. I thank you. There's a dodgy reception.
Netherlands, 12 points. Yeah.
Much kinder.
Oh, good.
Festival. On the 5th of December, kids and adults alike get their shoes.
Yes.
Pop them underneath the tree, and along comes Santa and his reindeer, and they put goodies the next day if you've been good, or apparently used to be a potato. If you're not so good. So if you get a potato, you know you've been bad. As you can see, I'm being shown the pickle. That's Germany.
Yes.
Oh, wrong country.
Yes, the Germans love their pickle.
So I tell you what, they're on the booze in there already. Right, so we really don't need
pickled,
to see.
literally.
We'll go there in a minute. So you put your shoes out and then you get a potato.
Oh, no, only if you've been naughty. So if you have big shoes, so my size 24s would be ideal, because they stuff them full of presents, don't
Potatoes.
they? Potatoes.
OK, I'm not so keen on
Traditionally,
that.
there he is.
Oh, there he
There's
is.
Sinterklaas.
Sinterklaas.
And he's a famous horse, and he's much more ornate, I've got to say. Than
Well, he's much more
other
biblical,
Santas.
isn't he? He's much more priest-like, bishop-like.
Yes, because there's all the connections that I thought perhaps it's not so fun to go into those. But he does come along and reward you. Oh, my goodness, he's got a camel there.
He's got a camel?
Good heavens.
Why would he
He's
have
taken
a camel?
the wrong turning somewhere, hasn't he? What? So, hello?
They get everywhere. It's the quantum physics.
Well, it's like that. Well, it was like the camel that was wandering down the road,
I saw
wasn't it?
that.
A woman was walking a camel the other day. I mean,
as you do.
Did you see that?
Where was that?
I want to say,
Barnes High
was
Street.
it in London? It was in the UK.
It was.
Yes, it was in London. So basically, this little girl, a brilliant story. This little girl looked out of the window. And she said, "Oh, Mummy, there's a camel." And the mother said, "Oh, don't be ridiculous. Can't be a camel." Looked out the window. There was a camel.
There's a camel.
and they were just walking out. Phil thinks there was definitely a speed hump.
Oh, very
good.
He's here all week.
Anyway, we're digressing. So that's the Netherlands.
Yeah,
not keen on.
Sorry. Got to move on to the pickle.
Well, I was just saying I'm not keen on potatoes.
Already?
Yeah, no, let's go back to the pickle.
Well, hopefully you've been a good boy, David.
No.
Hey, he's never good. He's never good.
Definitely not.
And the tradition of hiding a pickle in the Christmas tree is believed to have originated in 16th
That's what got you into
Germany.
trouble. It's going to be good.
Andrew Eborn, be quiet. Sorry, carry on. So where am I hiding my pickle?
What?
It can be a bit prickly. I've got to warn you of the hazards.
Right, and why am I hiding my pickle?
Well, I don't want to make this personal, but if you're a good boy, you can find the pickle in the tree, and you're rewarded with a present.
Oh.
Right.
If you can get your shoes on.
I've got potatoes in my shoe. I've hidden my pickle. It's a very busy time of year.
Oh, there's a camel somewhere. It's I love this show. This is brilliant.
It's a very busy day. There's the camel, the shoes,
Absolutely.
the potato, and a pickle.
Yes.
Right. Any more?
Yeah, just to tag on to the end of the pickle.
Yes, of
Yes.
course.
It does come from legend that children. It has a bit of a you know, with a lot of these, they have a flip side,
Yes.
which is quite sort of sinister.
Yes.
And 2 little boys were apparently hundreds of years ago kidnapped and put in a pickle barrel.
Oh, dear.
And Santa saved them.
Ah.
The legend says brought them back to life. So I presume they'd come to a bad you know, something had not gone right there. Yes.
Oh.
And then this is what spurred the legend of the pickle.
Right.
I think in American they say go figure.
Well, try
Right.
Yes.
Or as Phil keeps saying, it got them out of a pickle.
They did go...
yeah.
Hey, Phil's on fire today.
Yeah, he's
I
wasted.
thought there was a pickle there.
Sorry?
No, you thought
It's
that's
not
a
a
pickle.
pickle.
It's not a cucumber. It's
not a pickle. It's a dancing cactus.
There it is.
There it is.
Press the little
Segue
button.
into my feature about pickles. He can be a pickle.
I've turned
He
it
can be a
off.
pickle.
Oh, no, Dave.
Yeah. Oh, no, there we go. There's
my dancing
pickle. I think it's... Look at that. Hey.
It's good,
I
isn't
love
it?
those things.
Yes. Anyway, I'm a bit easily distracted this morning.
I know, I've got
It won't
the
shut up now. It won't shut up. You've got to switch it off.
Yes, my cactus is getting overexcited. Sorry?
Well, with festive sauna, I thought that might bring you back down.
Oh,
to
yes, tell us. This is a bit bizarre one. Tell us this.
Do you think it's bizarre? I think it's quite nice. Finns often have saunas in their houses, I'm told.
They do. Hot tubs.
And oh, fantastic! And at Christmas, this is where the spirit. Let me get this right: the spirit of your dead ancestors they hang out in your sauna. So what you do is you go in. Apparently, you have to be naked. This is a rule. And enjoy your sauna to, you know, remember these dead ancestors.
Who are there
then
with
you
you?
go out.
Who are there with you
Who are there
whilst
with
you're
you?
naked?
Whilst you're naked. This is so terrifying. and then in comes Krampus, just to make it even better.
And then so does your pickle.
And then there's your camel. I love it. This is so frightening. Nobody's going to sleep tonight.
So basically, I'm naked in a sauna with a camel, a potato, and a pickle.
Normal Tuesday night.
Completely
I
normal.
love it.
I don't want to think about a pickle in the sauna.
No,
really.
I don't either. Any more?
I think we're good.
Okay.
my God.
Yes, I think we're very good. Vicky, what a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Nice to see you, Vicky.
Also, I wish you a
Merry
very
Christmas.
happy Christmas. Thank you very much indeed for your time.
To you too. Thank you for having me and letting me tell you about my weird
Yeah.
tradition.
Great. Do you know, I'm never... that's Vicky Mizzy, there, journalist and broadcaster. I will never look at a pickle
I
and a
know.
potato in the same
But
way.
what a lovely name, Vicky Mizzy.
Vicky Mizzy,
It's a glorious name. But you're right, a potato and a pickle is not what you want.
Right, lots of messages coming in. I think people really rather enjoying all of that. Thank you very much indeed. Keep all of those coming in. Also, I'm asking this morning, if you were to give Rishi Sunak a present, what present would that be? 0344 499 1000. Text the word talk in your message to 87222. You can also tweet us at Talk TV. I'm really keen to hear all of those. Right, what are we doing next? Oh, yes, it's the Future Politics panel next. Grace Badamosi, also Harrison Orman-Varty will be joining us. Don't miss it. That's after this break. This is Talk TV. Welcome back to Talk Today with me, new hat, with me, David Bull. It's Talk Today, 8:27, Sunday, December the 24th. I'm joined by barrister extraordinaire, complete loon bag, Andrew Eborn this morning. Thank you for all your messages coming in. Good morning, lovely David, says, Kim, good morning to you. Your weekend show makes my week. I would buy Rishi Sunak a whoopee cushion. He needs to laugh, he needs to be human. He is really very robotic. Merry Christmas to you and to you as well. Thank you very much indeed. Ian from Liverpool, you like this one?
Oh, yes.
He says, I'm really enjoying your show this morning. Is this what a North London dinner party is like?
It's true.
Yeah,
and
pretty
a breakfast. Normally that's what happens.
Yes,
It's gotta be
exactly.
good.
Now, someone's taking you to task on your calculations about Santa.
Oh, yes. Oh, go on then. It's not my
so-
calculations, but...
On your basis of your calculations, it would
Yes.
take the whole season of Advent to deliver presents to 1.6 billion children.
Well, what I have to say, it's not my calculation, it's the scientists in America.
But it's
did it.
quantum physics, we found out.
I think you're right, and I think the hot mic moment is the reality, and that's what we should listen to.
Yes, I mean, it was a revelation to me.
Extraordinary.
Lots of other people saying I would buy Sunak a truth drug. That's Robert in North Hants.
Yeah.
Terry in Birmingham says I'd buy Sunak smelling salts and a nasal spray so he would wake up and smell the coffee. Merry Christmas. Thank thank you very much indeed for that. Great outfits. Good morning, young David.
Young David.
Thank you very much.
When's he coming on? Is there a new guest? Somebody's not in the studio yet.
Hello, young David.
Hello. He's down there.
Anyway, hello, young David. Great outfits. I wish Andrew would wear that headgear whilst in the courtroom.
Oh, absolutely.
I would also get Santa to bring Rishi a book, How to Run a Country for Dummies.
Oh, look. Somebody did tweet that. I saw that.
Did you? That's very good. A great show as always. Keep it up in 2024 and the show. Right, thank you for that, Ian. I think Ian's on the eggnog already, I think. Lots of other messages as well coming in. Keep all of those coming in. The question I'm asking this morning is, what would you buy Rishi Sunak for Christmas? The number 0344 499 1000. Text the word talk in your message to 87222. You can also tweet us at Talk TV. But now it's time for the Future Politics panel.
The Future Politics panel.
Well, joining us this morning, I'm delighted to say, is Grace Badamosi, political commentator. Also joining her, Harrison Ormond, Varty Conservative Borough Councillor. Good morning and happy Christmas.
Good morning.
You look splendid, Grace.
Glorious.
See the earrings?
I love the earrings.
Sensational.
I love the fact, Harrison, you've dialed it down. So you've gone with it. I know this was reluctant.
It was, with gritted teeth. But I got a tie underneath still. And
Look at you with your tie.
Honestly, Prime Ministerial.
Oh, I think they're there. I think this is it.
Yeah, it's very good.
No corners cut.
By the way, thank you for your Christmas card. This is very not joined up right.
It looks like a ransom. We'll free little David.
I was fortunate enough to go to a nice school, and when year 4, I was put on a laptop because I thought his handwriting's hopeless. So that is year 4 writing. It's not got any better since then.
Discuss.
This is a nice school. What was the school? What did you say it was nice?
It was Claremont Vancourt School in Esher.
We love Claremont Vancourt School.
How do we love it?
I've never heard of it. It's Christmas.
Well, I did wonder. Right. Shall we move on? Lots to talk about this morning.
Yes.
I know it's the festive season, and I would say this, wasn't I? But it was quite interesting. I got a heads up this was coming last night from Mr. Tice. Where's it gone? The Times somewhere this morning.
Yes.
Front page. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Front page of the Sunday Times. Basically says Reform UK to challenge the Tories in every seat at the general election. Now, this is true, and I know it to be true for one reason, i.e. I'm in it. Richard Tice has given the senior team cast iron guarantees general election candidates will not step aside for Tory opponents in a move that could split Rishi Sunak's vote in key seats. So Reform UK has already selected 440 candidates for those seats. 650 will be selected in total. This all goes back to 2019 when Reform UK, the Brexit Party as it was then, the decision was made by Nigel Farage to stand down because of the real concern of a Labour government. There was an understanding between the Brexit Party and the Conservative Party, which the Conservatives completely reneged on. And now we know where they are in terms of the poll. They're 22 points behind Labour. There will be a lot of very worried Conservative MPs who were spluttering coffee over the Sunday Times this morning.
I mean, vote for whoever you like, but I think this is a decision that should worry a lot of people, because when we look at the Mid-Bedfordshire by-election, when we look at, I think, the Tamworth by-election, the Reform vote was actually bigger than the Labour majority. So what we're going to see is across seats across the UK, we're going to have situations where Labour win because Reform candidates chose to stand. And I think that that's not a situation that anyone, Reform, Tory, should be happy about, because all that's ensuring is a stronger Labour majority.
So what's the solution then? Because, as you say, the votes are really positive. So you're saying that you don't want Reform UK to stand?
Well, anyone who wants to stand should stand. However, I'm saying if you truly want the kind of government that you're looking for, that, you know, holds right-wing values, is pushing for lower immigration.
And which party is that?
No, I'm saying if you're truly looking for that party, you're still not going to get that by voting Reform.
But I disagree with you fundamentally. Let's bring Harrison in here. Did you splutter into your cornflakes this morning?
Well, you know, I'm going to say that maybe don't vote who exactly you want for. And I know that's a little bit controversial.
Don't vote who you want for.
Shush, he can't write, and now he can't actually...
I'm 5 seconds in.
One at a time.
I'm 5 seconds in. And the reason why I say that, I don't say don't vote who you obviously don't like, but vote for you are... I would say
Tactical
if you're,
voting, is that what you're
yes,
saying?
basically.
This is resounding electoral play. Go on.
Look, I've always expressed that I think we should embrace PR, right? And I think that is not... There are far more smaller left-wing parties than there are right-wing parties, so it's not even a right-wing kind of thing. I think I've always embraced PR. However, we all know...
Can you just move closer to your mic?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
We all know the situation that we're
Move
in.
more to the right. The first time.
We all know the situation we're in. It's simply, right, Conservative or Labour, all right? And
it isn't.
It is. It is. I mean, and I know...
So hang on a minute. So you're saying vote for the Conservative Party, who are completely rubbish, who have abjectly failed to deliver.
But it could be worse.
Who are not... No, it can't be any worse.
It could be.
You've got the highest tax burden in 70 years. It's presiding over an economic mess. We're sliding into recession. And that's like... Is that what you're saying on the doorstep?
And those are only the good points.
You're saying... Yes. Oh, vote for us, because it could be worse.
No. All right.
Can it?
Hold on.
Right, sorry.
We've been in 14 years. You know, it's not perfect. I think our biggest challenge that we have at this election is anything we say will be challenged with why haven't you done it, right? And I think that fundamentally is our biggest issue. However...
OK, why haven't you done it?
Well, you're left... I'm not in government, right? But I would say... Look, I'm not one of those Conservatives who go, oh, yes, we get everything right. And I'm pretty self-critical about what we get right and what we get wrong, right? But what I'm saying is, fundamentally, with the system we have, you know, whether you like it or not, it is simply Conservative or Labour.
Well, so let me just throw that back at you. When you look at the latest polls, this was carried out by the Times, Reform UK, and your point, Grace, is absolutely right about those by-elections. There is also another factor playing here, which is if Reform is on, say, depending on the poll, 9 to 11% already, and remember, Reform is only 2 years old. So, in fact, as Nigel Farage said to me, that actually the ascendancy of Reform UK is far greater than UKIP ever was at the time, and that was seen to be an extraordinary moment in British politics. I take the point about first past the post. Now, Nigel Farage has been in the jungle. He is considering what he is going to do. Richard Tice is quoted in this article as saying if Nigel Farage comes back, that goes up to 13–14%.
There you go.
No.
That's pretty significant.
I mean, Farage coming back will definitely, I think, change the state of play. It will definitely shake things up. However, what I want every Reform voter to realise is that for every Reform vote, that is one step closer that Starmer is to number 10.
Is it? Because I don't agree.
Reform just have no hope of winning. That's
simply not true.
That's point blank true.
Well, so let's just go back to the lead. So I think that lead is soft. Also, let me just remind you of what has happened in other countries, because in Canada in 1993 there was an electoral wipeout. They lost 167 seats. Also, I would throw at you, the Tories don't deserve to win, and quite frankly, actually, maybe they deserve to be wiped out.
No, I think if you're coming from that perspective, then, you know, as I said at the beginning, unlike Harrison, vote for who you like. However...
Not so kind!
Yeah. However, if what you're looking for is a government who embraces right-wing values, know that by voting Reform, you're not going to get that. So,
hang on.
know that by voting Reform, you're not going to get that. So, there you go.
I would just say that I think even Nigel Farage himself knows that they're not going to be successful. Well, actually, win. I wouldn't say successful, because success can be deemed as...
I would agree with that.
However, and the reason why I said that is because of him hinting about potentially going back into the Tory party, and him
He's
also
playing them.
And also, well,
he's very clever, Nigel.
Yeah.
He's a master.
And also, when he hinted at saying that, does he have the strength? Because you remember, UKIP, you know, 5 million votes, 1 seat. You just think, well,
but let me throw this back at you. It's not a one-term issue.
Yes.
This is a long-term plan.
Sure. Yeah.
So, and I know this also, there are many very worried Conservative MPs talking to Reform UK, and I'm being careful about what I'm saying, because they are so worried, even with a 20,000 majority, that they will lose their seat. Now, particularly in the Red Wall, these are the Brexit-supporting voters who turned to vote for Brexit. They believe they have been completely ignored. And I think you need to understand the depth of anger in the north.
I think that's right. And the other thing as well is Boris, people have had a conversation about politics, haven't mentioned Boris at all. What he was, the Carlsberg, wasn't he, of politicians. He could reach both the Red Wall and the Red Corduroys and reach part of the electorate that other people couldn't reach. Do we need another Boris?
I think Boris Boris was an exceptional communicator regarding like getting people riled up. Whether people agreed with his politics or not, they liked Boris, right? Well, whether that translated to being a good prime minister, I don't think run on parallels. So I would say, Rishi is not as good as a front man, but maybe a better.
Who would you have? What would you give him for Christmas? A personality. Rishi. You can't say that. That's outrageous.
Honestly, did you just say? I thought you said I'd give him
We said from G. This thing is school. You said give him a policy.
Maybe the Reform UK manifesto, because I think we're drifting a little bit too close to the left, and I think we're losing our identity.
And that is exactly right.
Isn't that interesting?
So the Conservative
although we disagree with this outside, because it's interesting because he said I'm a disgruntled Conservative because I'm more likely to maybe vote for parties to the right, and she said you're disgruntled because you're more likely to go to the left.
Oh, that's not quite what I said. I said I think the Conservative Party is going too far from what its sort of original core principles should be,
so you
which
agree
I think
on
which is centre right, I believe, which is more towards the centre. And I think with their asylum policy, with their immigration policy, their tax policy, on all fronts, I think the Conservative Party is going.
So
right.
do you think
we're centre right?
Do you think which is what we touched on earlier? Do you think the Reform Party will be the king or queen makers in this election?
No. Don't get me wrong. I have a lot of respect for Reform, and I think Reform will do good in hopefully influencing the Conservative Party. I hope it will pull. I think Reform UK will what would be deemed a success for them is if the Conservatives looked at them and nicked policy from them. At that point, then,
they have done. They repeatedly.
I think if they move and they kind of mimic what they're doing, that is a win for Reform UK.
But
even though you're not in, you have.
So you're saying Reform UK should satisfy itself with being a
policy maker,
or indeed a predictor, a barometer, a pressure group.
I think that's short-sighted electioneering because definitely the North is something that the Conservatives should be worried about, but they also shouldn't neglect their blue belt and the policies
which does feel neglected.
Yeah, and certain policies that Reform are pushing through, certain policies that even
which policies in particular? Give us a policy.
Policies that the Conservative Party pushing through, the blue belt aren't happy with. So I'm saying the Conservative Party should not go too far to one extreme.
So which policy should they take from Reform? You say take their policies.
Yeah.
Which one?
For me, I would do the corporation tax reversal.
Okay,
that's probably a big one for me.
Which Liz Truss championed.
There you go.
Yeah.
By the way, Liz Truss also wanted to take people out of tax. She wanted to lower the tax threshold. Do you know what? Liz Truss was a Conservative.
She was. I mean, Liz Truss's policies I thought were found, but her execution was poor.
Yeah.
And she was relatively naive to think she'd get so much done in such a short period of time. It was a shame because I think a lot of people admired her ambition and her vision. It was just executed in such a poor way, and for someone in cabinet for that long to not realise that, I thought was quite
so
annoying.
before we go to the break, Andrew asked you the question about which policy. You mentioned that one, but also Rishi Sunak, unfortunately, and I think it is unfortunate, has tied himself to 5 pledges, and they are going to haunt him because he can't fulfil them. So in terms of inflation, sure, it's come down, but it's not really in his gift. It's about global forces, cost push inflation, and so on. The other one is cut waiting lists. And this is what people feel really passionate about at home. They know they can't see a doctor. We've seen abject collapse of the hospital system, of GP practices, and so on. Meanwhile, I'm quoted again in the Daily Telegraph yesterday about I'm getting very famous.
David. Even little David.
Yes, hello, little David. But I'm quoted yesterday because I said we've got to stop nicking people from abroad. We've nicked 100,000 people from vulnerable countries because we're too lazy to invest in this NHS. How important is the NHS as the election looms?
It's absolutely insanely important. I think the thing that people in Westminster and people around politics don't realise is no one really cares about what MP's done what this week or what this random policy is that's been announced. But when people can't see a doctor, when they call an ambulance and the ambulance comes 20 minutes late than it should be, that's what people feel. So the NHS is going to be incredibly crucial. And regarding the whole labour shortages thing, I think the government absolutely should be investing in the NHS. We should be upskilling our own force to get people, the young, bright talent that we have, into the NHS.
I think for me, the NHS, 2 things, right? And I think one of them, what I'm going to say, people would say was quite controversial. And I think, personally, the private sector will be the only thing that will save the NHS at this point. And secondly...
In what way?
In the fact that they have the facilities that they have to offer, I think the one way that what I think they should be doing is issuing tax breaks and healthcare vouchers to those.
So, by the way, that's Reform UK policy.
On lower. This is what I'm saying. And this is my point. We should be nicking things from you guys.
Nicking things from you guys.
And second of all, and second of all is immigration. I think the whole point. If you've got net migration figures this high, and I know what you say it's conservatives, but the point I'm trying to make is if you have net migration figures at 750,000, there is obviously going to be an impact on your GP services, your schools, and your roads. So I think the two things that I would do to help the NHS crisis would be to use the private sector to help the national health, and I'd also
which already happens actually.
It does, but I think it needs to be out further.
So just privatise the NHS?
No, I didn't say privatise.
Well, let's come back because I want to come back to migration after the break. But just in terms of this, I think one of the other things for me is why have we got 745,000 kids under 25 who are not employment in training and so on? Those people could be trained up to staff the NHS. 8.7 million people who are not gainfully employed in this country. Stop nicking people. Train our own.
Yeah, oh no, of course, train. I mean, yeah, no, definitely, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well,
Very good. Thank you very much. That's the world sorted.
my work here is done. Let's have a break. After the break, we'll talk more about immigration. This is Talk TV. To talk today with me, David Bull, and Santa himself, Andrew Eborn. We're in the middle of the Future Politics panel with Grace Badamosi and Harrison Ormond-Varty. Whilst I remember, I need to say hello to Chris the cabbie.
Oh, CC.
So he picked me up.
Did he?
Yes, in a cab.
Oh my goodness.
And it was very funny because I was trying to explain. I said, we were talking about something, and I said, I have a strange job. He said, I know who you are. I always watch. I always watch on Talk TV. And then he told me exactly what he thought about the Conservative Party and where we're going next. By the way, very quickly, Chris in Newbury says, David, I've only just realised that your guest today isn't Charlie off Casualty. I was assuming... That's you!
Me! But Charlie, but normally people say it's Will Ferrell is what they say. They always say a bit of elf.
No, they think you're Charlie.
I could be Charlie off Casualty.
A medical double act. Anyway, we digress. Thank you very much for those. This is interesting. Let's use this to get into this. Alan in Merseyside, Harrison says, Rishi Sunak has totally ruined the Conservative Party. Look, migration, another massive issue. You mentioned it earlier. They've just completely failed to get on top of this. 745,000 net migration last year. That's the city the size of Bristol, as you rightly say. There are no schools and hospitals and so on. And they've been, stop the boats, stop the boats, stop the boats. That's 44,000. It's nothing compared with 745,000. It's interesting, though. Wait for this. I nearly fell over when I read this. Migrants applying for asylum are going home for Christmas, according to... Yeah, so apparently their countries can't be that bad, can they?
But don't go home for Christmas.
I'm applying for asylum, but I'm going to go pop back.
I'll go home for Christmas, have my turkey, my gherkin, and my little pickle.
Yes, put my pickle out, and a potato. And Phil Douglas, who is head of the Border Force, says he was shocked when carrying out exit checks. We find people who've claimed asylum are heading back to their home countries, which obviously isn't allowed. There's another story as well. An immigrant to be deported for the UK from the 5th time after changing his name.
Yes.
And said, he'll be back. Oh, yes, this is your government wasting money. I'll be back forth, and so on.
Arnie Schwarzenegger.
So we've got so basically got two problems. You've got illegal migration and legal migration.
Yes.
I think many Conservatives were pleased to hear Cleverly's 5-point plan. They like a 5-point plan.
Everybody loves it. It's got to be 5.
Yeah.
It used to be 3, but you can't do the countdown.
No, indeed.
Behave.
So then they were strong and said, look, to bring in a spouse, it went from 18,000 up to 38,000.
Yes.
And many people said, oh, good, some Conservative policy. Now they're on the back foot again. They've now changed it again. That just looks weak.
It does. I mean, I would say explicitly that we have failed on immigration. We've done worse on our actual immigration figures than I think we've done on illegal immigration this year, because even though obviously the numbers are still high, people are still crossing, our general trend obviously has decreased while Europe's has kind of still gone up. So I think we're doing worse on the people that are letting in, which arguably could be the easier one to solve because it's only a few levers you'd have to pull. I generally don't think...
What would you do?
I would first of all start with the threshold. I thought that was a no. I can't believe he went back on it. I thought, why would you announce it if you'd have thought you'd have had the discussions before?
But isn't that because they got so much backlash from their own party? But either you believe in something or you don't, and that's what I think people see.
I think it makes me question as well, what are the type of people surrounding Rishi Sunak and the type of people in the Home Office, because he obviously has had let's implement this threshold, and then a couple of days later then it's gone. So who's had these conversations with
who's
Rishi
in
Sunak?
charge, actually?
Exactly, because it makes you then question, you know, how much power does the Prime Minister have, and it makes you think maybe not that much.
Who's in charge?
I was actually quite happy to see the threshold come down, I'll be honest. I think...
You're too nice.
You are nice.
I think the idea that it's embarrassing for Rishi Sunak is just obviously paramount. You don't announce something and then 2 days later say, actually, we've changed our minds. However, I do think the underlying policy, perhaps the Home Office probably pulled him aside later and said, this actually probably won't work. You probably need to change this. And the bottom line is, the original number, all it would have done is split families apart. People currently in the process of reuniting their families would have to relocate. All it would mean is that people wouldn't be able to marry who they love because they just couldn't afford to. I think a lot more thinking needs to be done around
a lot more thinking needs to be done.
Yeah, just full stop.
Edward de Bono had something to say about that. He was here earlier.
It's Christmas. Very quickly, I was just interested in this article. You're young people, obviously.
All three of us.
So there's a really interesting article here.
Yes.
Give sherry a chance. Do you fancy a sherry?
I thought you called Sherry Blair.
No, sherry as in a drink.
Do sherry?
Do you like sherry?
Yeah, go on.
My sherry?
Go on, then.
It's all right. I mean, I'm no big fan, but
Why not?
I just don't really like the taste.
Do you like a dry one or a sweet one?
So we'll talk about sherry in a minute. Let's
good.
What is your tipple of choice over the Christmas period?
Well, me?
Yeah.
What drink?
What do you mean, we? Yes, you.
I only drink water. So I'd
Drink water.
a nice glass of water with some ice cubes.
Oh, you are.
You're going to spoil. Have 3 this Christmas.
Yeah, let's go on, Grace.
My family actually don't drink, so it'll be a nice chilled J2O for me.
You've got
I'm not asking you.
We make up for the rest. It's fantastic.
Thank you so much. I wish you both a very happy Christmas, and thank you so much.
Oh, Jackie from Waitrose.
Oh, Jackie from Waitrose.
The first person to ever spot me and recognise me from TV ever was Jackie from Waitrose.
Oh, Jackie!
In Hersham, in Surrey.
Jackie.
Hi,
Jackie.
So look in the camera and wave to Jackie.
Hi, Jackie. I'll see you in Waitrose.
Hi, Jackie. Hi, Jackie.
Jackie, we'll all be down to Waitrose. Happy Christmas to you, Jackie. Happy Christmas to the 2 of you as well. Grace
Other
Badabosi.
stores are available.
Indeed, but Jackie's not in there.
Right.
Grace Badabosi, Harrison Norman Varty, that was today's Future Politics panel.
The Future Politics Panel.
We love
Right, be quiet. I'm trying to move on here. It's time for Rupert's Royal Roundup.
Rupert's Royal Roundup.
Good morning, Rupert. Do you know Jackie from Waitrose?
No, but I do know about anything with a yellow sticker. You can save a lot of money at Christmas today.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's very much along the Harrison lines of why don't you vote for someone that... What was that line? It was like, don't vote for someone that you want.
Don't vote for what you want.
So same thing. Don't buy what you actually want. Anyway, that's a whole nother ball game. So sausage fingers.
Well, yes. Okay. Are you referring to me or?
No, the
I think
king.
mine are all right, but maybe. I'm sorry I didn't get the memo about the hat. Sorry, David.
Very poor.
I don't have anything as fetching as that in my wardrobe. But anyway, sausage fingers. Yes, we're referring to the documentary that will be aired on Boxing Day.
Yes.
And sort of around the coronation and the Princess Royal giving an interview all about the sort of circumstances around the Queen's death and how the family basically urged the Queen to stay in Balmoral because they thought it was the right place, it was her happy place. So I think it's going to be an interesting documentary. Tonight we've got the Princess and Princess of Wales at a carol concert. So there's a lot of stuff around about the royals, and of course tomorrow we'll have the King's speech where recorded at Buckingham Palace with a tree that can be replanted, so sort of really fitting it with the King's environmental history and his sort of passion. So there's a lot of royal stuff going to be lurking over the next 2 or 3 days.
I mean, there's... yeah, OK, I get the tree and you can replant it and reusable decorations, environmentally friendly decorations. I just wonder what his late mother would think of this, because the monarch is not meant to be political and the king is increasingly political.
I wouldn't say that is... I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I've got a Christmas tree. What do I do with it? I have to... Yes. You can't see it here.
It's the only festive thing you've got.
Well, I'm still in the office now, you know, but I have got a Christmas tree. But I know I went to my local place to get it. It's been chopped down. So I think there is, you know, 8 million trees are chopped down for us. So, you know, maybe there is something in that, because we are just chopping down, and in the end they just get thrown away. So, I mean, maybe the king isn't being so political in this instance, and he's, you know, I mean, let's be honest, I've got a lot of Christmas stuff around, and you think, oh, this is all a bit, you know, it comes out for 2 weeks a year. I'm sounding a bit bar humbuggery, so if you ever know what I mean. So I do apologise, but in a way we do get an awful lot of stuff for Christmas, and maybe the king's thinking, right, try and reuse it. I mean, my environmental claim is I reuse my Christmas wrapping paper.
Right. Have you seen the speech? Have you seen the speech?
No, no one gets the chance to see it, and it'll come out tomorrow at about 3 o'clock, the traditional time, and it will be very interesting to see how. Okay, we can see the environmental aspect of it, but what message, in what is clearly had been a troubled year, that he tries to unite the country around what is his message. So I think it's going to be quite a difficult one for him to deliver in terms of the content. So I think it will be, as it's his second one, there will be, I think, more spotlight on where we see the direction of. You say he goes a bit political. How does he avoid going into something political when there's so much maybe possible division around? So that's going to be a challenge for him, I think. So he writes it himself, just like his late mother did. So it will be very much from his heart. But as you say, he's got to be very careful of how he treads and navigates that political problem that many people think he still has.
Rupert, thank you very much indeed. What are you doing for Christmas, by the way?
Well, today I'm going to be starting cooking. And we'll be getting out my turkey and getting it all ready, and hoping that I haven't given anyone food poisoning tomorrow afternoon.
Well, don't forget to get your pickle out as well. It's very, very important. Rupert, sorry about that. Thank you. Happy Christmas to you, Rupert. That was, of course, Rupert's Royal Roundup.
Rupert's Royal Roundup.
Thank you for all your messages. Leighton says, a fantastic show. I love the Future Politics panel, as always. What I would buy Rishi Sunak for Christmas, apart from a personality transplant, I'd actually buy some trousers that fit, i.e. reach the top of his shoes, and some black socks. I wish everyone at Talk TV a wonderful Christmas and a very happy New Year. Thank you to you, Leighton. Also, this one, Jenny in the Hope Valley. Good morning. You all look amazing. Just to wish you all a very happy Christmas with lots of love. Keep up the fantastic job that you do. Thank you very much indeed. That's very, very sweet of you indeed. Right, time for a break. Still much more to come after the break. Oh, Steve Denyer's popping in. Denyer's Delights. What more could you want? This is Talk TV.
This is Talk TV.
A very good morning to you. It's just after 9 o'clock. Yes, I have indeed got a reindeer on my head. It's just after 9 o'clock on Sunday, December the 24th. This is Talk Today. I'm David Bull. It's Christmas Eve. It's Christmas Eve. Thank you for all your messages as well. But if you are just joining us, great news this morning, because today is Eggnog Day.
Yum, yum, yum.
Yeah, disgusting. Also, happy birthday to Carol Vorderman, who is 63 today.
If it's your birthday, make some noise!
Yo! Oh, it's also Christmas Eve, as I said. That means one more sleep to go until the big day.
Remember to leave the mince pie and brandy out for me.
Yes, absolutely right. OK, let's move on to today's fascinating facts.
Today's fascinating facts.
Well, joining me this morning is the overexcited Andrew Eborn. And good morning again to you.
Hello.
Oh, no hat.
Oh, no hat.
Why?
They say I wear the fox hat. Where's the? Have we got one? There we are. I'll wear this.
Oh, you
one.
can have that one. Right. So I gave 5 facts this morning. What were
dear.
they? Do you know what they were?
Oh, golly,
You're meant
yes.
to know.
That's what, I can probably remember because 1904.
Very good.
There was the London Coliseum.
Yes.
Is that right? And it
Yes.
has not a revolting but a revolving stage.
That's right. First ever revolving stage.
Is
in
that
London.
good?
Well done in Britain, actually.
Thank you. It was the first one ever. I reckon you would have in 1914. It would be the First World War. Very important.
Very important.
And they played that football match. And I think this is a lesson for today's troubled times. And they played football. And I think they exchanged gifts and things like that. Is that good?
They did. They stopped the war, and it's really sad actually because they then handed out drinks. They gave souvenirs to each other, and then after the resumption of hostilities, they actually couldn't fire on each other because, of course, they'd had that human contact.
I know, wasn't that
And
lovely?
we need to learn from that. Next.
I think it was a meteorite. Was that a meteorite?
Yes.
I reckon it was 45 kilos of meteorite.
45 kilos.
About the weight of my left leg.
Well, that's the half, and that's basically over half my weight fell on this poor village in Leicestershire.
And isn't that interesting?
That's the last thing you expect on Christmas Eve. Oh, look, there's a meteorite.
Isn't that shocking? I mean, it could cause so much damage on that sort of basis.
Next.
I reckon, was it 1979?
You must have written them down.
No. 1979.
Yeah.
I think there was a satellite, and it was a rocket. See, I knew something up in the air. It looks good. I was Orion.
Yeah, no.
Arian, or what's Ariane?
So do you remember it was when they all came together, the European countries,
And they previously failed, haven't they?
Yeah. That's a maxim for the European countries.
And I'm going for the car. I'm going for the car. It is Christmas.
Do you not want the caravan? You want the car?
Not twice. I've got a caravan. I have the car to pull it. And I'll tell you what, it's right up your street doing the thing. 2020, I reckon it was. And after 4.5 years of wrangling, you managed to do that agreement with the EU and UK, and we did it. I've got the car.
You have got the car, and you win a Christmas pickle. and a potato.
And a camel to carry it all home.
And the camel. So you won the car, the caravan, the pickle, the potato, and the camel. Hurrah!
Joy. Hurrah!
And no, we haven't had a cocktail yet.
Not yet!
Also, thank you for all your postbox toppers. Now, if you, over the last month or so, I've been asking for your postbox toppers. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, these have sprung up all over the United Kingdom on postboxes. So these are incredible creations that people have done of Christmas scenes. Now, if we go to the first of my new ones, which is Gingerbread House, can you believe that actually people make this? So here on a postbox, someone has made the most extraordinary gingerbread house with little Father Christmas there, a little Christmas tree and some little lamps all adorning that postbox. Thank you to Richard Holland for that one. Then I'm going to show you another one. This is polar bears. And again, the artistry here, this has been sent in by Andy, the artistry. If we can move on to the polar bears one now. There it is. So amazing artistry where you've got little polar bears with a Santa on it. What's that? Penguin as well. And that's adorning another postbox. Looks like rain. Looks a woolly icicle. Oh yes, that's a woolly icicle. Looks like reindeer. There you go. Lots of little reindeer there, which is rather lovely, and a Santa. And that's been and little stockings around the edge. That's been sent in by Jack Allen. Jack's actually outdone himself because he's also sent me another one. Ooh. Another one about reindeer. There we are. I don't know where that is in the country.
No idea.
Oh, it's a different angle of the same one, right?
Oh, yes, there you go.
And then I'll show you one more, actually, which is Christmas lanterns. Again, how talented are people in this country? Oh. Look at that, just amazing. So Christmas lanterns around the base there. You've got a little gingerbread house, Father Christmas, and so on. Even my mum sent one in.
Oh, did you do a bit of crocheting?
She didn't make it, but she saw it.
I saw the
So
picture.
apparently, in my hometown of Framlingham, she said there is one, but she couldn't find it. So she was asking everyone, where is the postbox stopper? And then she sent.
And have they rebranded the post boxes now?
No.
So I like the idea of
what the C3R.
No, the C3PO is what they should have. See what I did there? Star Wars everywhere. But they should do that. I love these things. We don't have any around our area.
No, we don't.
None of this little crocheted stuff.
Don't you?
No.
A very dull part of the world. Thank you, Andrew, for the moment. Right, it's Christmas, and that can only mean one thing. We have a Christmas treat in store, which, of course, is the very festive Steve of Denyer joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning to you both. Happy Christmas
Happy
Eve.
Christmas.
I have made an effort.
Oh, you
If
have?
have a look at my
Christmas
I like to
quack,
call it my Christmas moob.
Thank you. I love it.
I've never seen you this dressed down. Well, not
Exactly.
on television.
It feels weird. Where's the blazer? I feel like I'm not making an effort for
I
you
think that's
two.
right. You got the duck. I like the duck.
First of all, can I say what a great show it's been since
thank
7
you, that's
o'clock?
very
I've
sweet.
been, honestly, 100 miles an hour, so much fun. I'm not wearing that hat. I've got something to share with you right now. We have some breaking news at about 10 minutes past 9. So this is the official NORAD Santa tracker, and it is just launched. So there we go. Santa's preparing right now, and in any minute, I'll keep an eye on it. We'll find out where he's started.
So can you just explain this? Because I mentioned it earlier. NORAD tracks where Santa is in the world.
Exactly that. So there's been a countdown for the last couple of hours. I've been refreshing the page, and then all of a sudden, so at the moment, he's actually in the workshop. The presents are ready. I presume they're about to be loaded onto his supersonic sleigh. What was it you were saying earlier?
So
just after 7 o'clock about how it works.
Well, there was a hot mic comment where Michelle Donnellan was interviewing the chief scientific officer, and the chief and they finished rolling, and the chief scientific officer was then asked by Michelle Donnellan. She said she didn't understand how every child gets presents at the same time.
And this is fascinating. What was the answer?
And the answer was it's quantum physics, and it's what was it called? Entanglement.
It's entanglement, which is what. So QE is what happens on that.
So just to prove I was listening, so one present gets delivered, and that has a kind of a knock-on effect. It's like a domino effect.
As soon as somebody opens it, apparently this is what they were saying, and again, hot mic moment. As soon as one child opens it, all of the presents get delivered at the same time. So that is the magic. So it's QE, which is quantum entanglement.
So, and then she also said, well, of course that's broken if children don't go to bed when their parents tell them to.
Right, which is, just for the record, before 9 o'clock. Very early.
Is that right?
You've got to be good. You've got to be good, Andrew. Have you been a good girl?
I'm never good.
Actually, no, very excitingly, I'm seeing you later.
Yes, is that right?
Yes. We're having dinner.
We're going to have a Christmas Eve dinner.
Look at you with your Christmas Eve dinner.
With Grandma. With Mum.
How lovely is
I'm really looking forward to it. What a perfect way to start Christmas.
Absolutely.
Christmas
We'll talk more about that in a minute. Right, now, so this is very difficult to wear on my head.
Yes.
So tell us, what are we doing now?
Who are you? What are you doing here? We'll start with, look, there's always, we'll start with some slightly sobering news, and that is, there's always a sad passing away over Christmas.
Yes.
And I thought I'd mention this because it was in the news, and it was the first thing I read this morning. This is Dixie Chicks band founding member Laura Lynch, who's died in a car crash. Dixie Chicks they're called the Chicks now. They've been huge for many decades. She was a founding member. She sung on 3 of their albums. There's a lot of shock, especially in the States this morning.
So we spoke to Caroline about that earlier, and I was saying, actually, it sort of underpins that whilst it is a festive season, it feels wrong to be wearing this hat, whilst it is a festive season and we must enjoy it, of course, at the same time, please take care, because people are in a hurry, you know, that last-minute panic to do everything and to get everything in place is a big deal, isn't it? And then it only takes an accident, a momentary lapse of concentration for a car accident, for example. So,
and, you know, we have to remember that life goes on over Christmas. And, you know, and people do pass away and things do happen, and obviously it tarnishes the festivities and stuff. But I think Christmas is a really important time, actually, and we should think about this tomorrow when we sit down with our friends and family and do mark the people who are not with us anymore.
You're so right, Steve, as well, because what happens is whilst lots of people are having lots of fun, for many people it's a very sad time. It's the first time they're going to be without their partners or whatever. It'd be remembering people who have passed on, and so the thoughts absolutely should go out for them. And the other point we always make is that whilst lots of people are having fun, there are lots of lonely people out there. So the one thing I would say is, look, knock on the door, and just reach out. Wouldn't that be the greatest Christmas message?
I agree, and I think one of the things that was destroyed in COVID is that sense of community. In fact, and actually, there's a campaign to save our local pub, and I've just written to the member of Parliament. I've also written to the planning officer to say, when you destroy things like village pubs, it isolates older people particularly. It's the only place where you can wander, see people, where you can interact with the community. I think we are in danger of destroying the fabric of this country.
You're absolutely right. and the pub is the heart of the community. I actually, bizarrely, am developing a TV programme called Local Hero, which is about basically saving the local pubs and getting the communities behind it, because you find that a lot of these communities are investing in these pubs, which are the life and soul. And people will come down, have their ginger beer and sit down and talk about the world. And that's what we really need. We need our sense of community back again.
We really do. But,
do you
however...
know the names of your neighbours?
My neighbours, yeah, I do actually. Yeah,
Good.
both of them, and we've got I'm very lucky to have a concierge. So there's somebody. So he's a great person, and he looks after. He knows everything. If you get in with a concierge, I managed to get a sofa this year via this guy.
Do you?
All kinds of things.
A three-piece suite.
A three-piece suite.
Look at you.
I know, it's amazing. So
Right.
yes,
Lovely.
So
very
there we
good.
are.
So I think that's a top tip. Actually, say hello to people. Make
Say hello to
sure.
people.
But whatever happens, listen, 3 years ago, we were told by Boris Christmas was cancelled. So at least we haven't got that going on
I think
this
that's
year.
right.
We can go out, we can see who we want to, we can have fun, toast the people who aren't with us anymore, and let's just have a really lovely...
And I think one of the other things to celebrate is life is very short, and you have to grasp it and run with it and have fun, and of course be serious, but at the same time, I think you do have to ensure that you enjoy it.
Absolutely. And we've lost so many key people this year, of all ages, and that's the shocking thing. When you look, there's always the saddest moment at this time of year, is when you look about all the people in the public eye who we've lost.
It's so true. I mean, it's very much akin to kind of 2016, you know, when we lost Bowie and people like that. But I'll get on to Barry Humphries in just a second, because there's a programme commemorating him and Dame Edna and Celeste Patterson tomorrow, which I'll be watching tomorrow.
You'll do that later, will you?
We'll do that later.
Okay.
So showbiz stuff, we do Dania's Delights, don't we, every Saturday?
We do.
I like to bring you a few things. Big rumour this morning, and this is great news to anyone who grew up in the 90s, loved Britpop. Apparently the feud between the Oasis brothers, well, apparently their relationship's never been better. And there's lots of rumours this morning that maybe in the new year they could start to think about patching it up. So, you know, it's really interesting. So it's next year is the 30th anniversary of Definitely Maybe being released. The big Oasis, the pivotal album with all those
30 years, isn't that
30
amazing?
years ago.
Where did those 30 years
1994. It's incredible,
It is
isn't
incredible.
And then obviously the year after that, Wonderwall came out, and then it'll be the 30th anniversary of the Nebworth concerts, when they played to hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people. So that would be quite amazing if they could get back together by 1996 to give us a big... I think it could happen. In the next 2 years, this is the pivotal time. If they're going to do it, it will be in the next... I'm getting excited here.
You are,
The cocktails even arrived in the next 48
Not long.
months. So,
No, I've got my eye on the cocktail. Oh, were you? So Andrew wanted them at 7:15.
I wanted them at 6:45.
But we thought that was a little early.
A little bit earlier. Also, you'll like this. We should have mentioned this to Rupert Bell earlier with his Royal Roundup. I mentioned this to you a while back. Celebrity Big Brother is coming back in the new year. So obviously we had the normal Big Brother. That works. Celebrity Big Brother, apparently they are offering £500,000 to secure a member of the royal family, and that person is Fergie.
We love it. Wouldn't that be brilliant?
It's front page of the Sunday People this morning.
Yeah, we touched on that. Would you go in?
Celebrity Big Brother. I think out of all of them, the Big Brother house would probably be the most amount of fun. I'll be rubbish in the jungle with the creepy crawlers. I remember interviewing Biggins.
Are you talking about your fellow contestants, the creepy crawlers?
So what did Biggins say?
Well, Biggins said, like, literally one night he woke up and he thought, what's that? And there was a rat crawling up his chest and like over his... And he said it's just absolutely dreadful, and you can't switch off. There are real snakes there, not the other contestants.
I thank you. Well, I chatted to Nigel, as you do, about his experience in the jungle. Nigel Farage.
So what did he say?
He basically said the thing they miss out is actually the glorious sounds of the jungle, which isn't piped in. But one thing he really loved was being in nature and hearing the wonderful sounds that you do, and the birds chirping and the crickets drumming, whatever, to make that noise. And it was glorious. So I think, but I'm with you on that one. The other thing I would recommend, do what Tony Blackburn did, is when he went into the jungle, I think he's probably vegetarian anyway, you tell people you're vegetarian or you're vegan, then you don't have to eat all the funny bits and pieces that we looked at earlier. Very clever.
Very good.
Very good plan.
Okay, cracking on.
Yes. So what else have we got? Let's look at some, even though it's Christmas Eve, there are gigs tonight. There's a few. I had to really search and scroll. A great guy, I interviewed Adrian Edmondson.
Oh, yes.
Of course, from The Young Ones, a couple of months ago. He's going to be a special that we're hosting on Virgin Radio in the new year. He plays tonight at the Harrogate Convention Centre. He is extremely funny and extremely energetic.
I didn't know he did
said,
stand-up.
yeah, so he's doing stand-up at the moment off the back of his book.
Yes.
He kind of chats about the book that's come out and about his life. Extremely, you'd be quite surprised at some of the things, his life. He was kind of sent off to a really strict kind of boarding school when he was a kid.
Where did he go?
Rarely saw his, I can't remember, he rarely saw his parents, so, and he was sent off, and he had a really kind of like difficult relationship with his dad. Of course, then he was part of all those great comedians, Lenny Henry, the comedy strip, the comic strip in the 80s. The Young Ones changed everything, didn't it? I mean, we really remember that as well as we remember Adrian Mole, brilliant series in the 80s. He said he was pretty much a stuntman in the Young Ones.
It was always through the walls with Rick Mail,
God.
brilliant stuff.
I was just trying to think that through. Was he the stuntman?
Well, he was. Yeah, absolutely.
Always
watched some of those
through the walls
back.
and the flips over and things. Can he sing? Do you remember Neil in the Young Ones?
Yes.
He had a hole in my shoe.
And I think and he was a #1 with that.
Yeah.
Can Adrian sing?
Yes, he can. Yeah.
And it's really interesting.
He's been in bands.
He's been brilliant,
Yeah.
isn't it? Well, it is always interesting about their family background, because often comedians come from quite tortured backgrounds, and they themselves are quite tortured souls, aren't they?
Exactly that. I know a great quote from him, Adrian Eberson. He says he judges a person on whether they like Laurel and Hardy or not. And I just think, and I do exactly the same.
That's interesting. I loved Laurel and Hardy when I was growing up.
Is that good?
Actually.
Is that good?
That's a wonderful thing.
Moving on to the Royal Albert Hall.
Royal Albert Hall tonight. This is the place. Obviously, loads of Christmas carols.
Yes.
If you check in your local, area, there will be one at the end of the road. But Royal Albert Hall tonight. This is legendary. I was checking the ticket availability. There seem to be a few. They're expensive.
Yeah.
But can you imagine the Royal Albert Hall and that beautiful scenery and joining in carols? I saw Liam Gallagher at the Royal Albert Hall, and he came on stage. He went, "Nice gaff, this, isn't it?
It'd be lovely when it's finished."
Yes,
probably. Glorious.
It's a stunning venue.
I used to represent them when I was a baby barrister.
Did you?
We used to do that. And I was there a couple of days ago with the Christmas festival thing.
Yes.
And it is glorious, seeing all the little ones and the big ones and the families all united. It is beautiful.
I've been to a Christmas concert there, and it really was stunning. And I think it's just so perfect, and it's just a beautiful piece of architecture with the little mushrooms in the ceiling as well.
It takes your breath away. I've been to see rock bands there.
Yeah.
I've been to see the Nutcracker there. I've been to carol concerts there. It's all really great. It's a special place. Wonderful things happen in there.
Right.
Really
Shall we move on to
beautiful.
television for people who just want to sit down?
Can I just say today, Channel 5, from 11:30 to 6 p.m, before our dinner, I'm just going to be there. We've got the original Christmas Carol, Alistair Sim, the black and white version,
Alistair
which is
Sim
really
legend.
great. I mean, I would say the Albert Finney, the musical version of Scrooge, is also really great, but that's not television.
Yep.
So, then you go into The Man Who Invented Christmas. This is brilliant. So this is a story about how they came up with the ideas with the characters, and it's just brilliant. It's just really, really good. Dan Stevens is in it. It's very funny. It's quite poignant, and it's the story of how Scrooge, the character, was invented.
Oh, brilliant.
Okay, and then moving on, Channel 5 continues to
I've got a little trailer
thrill.
for you.
Oh,
I've got one of the best Christmas films ever. This is on. Take a look at this.
Oh, maybe not. No, we've
I've seen it. I've seen it before.
I think he wants to show the trailer of the best Christmas movie.
The Holiday.
The Holiday.
Oh, we got the trailer. I was promised we had it.
Phil's on the rum punch.
Oh, okay, right.
That's the problem. Yeah.
Talk about it.
Talk about the. I think. Oh, it will come in a minute.
Okay.
So just talk us through The Holiday. I agree with you. I think it's
really
a wonderful
special.
film.
It's kind of Los Angeles, UK at Christmas. Cameron Diaz comes over from LA. Of course, Kate Winslet goes over to Cameron Diaz's home.
Right.
Jude Law's in it.
Yes.
It's beautiful. It's all the things we were speaking about a moment ago with the holiday season. There's loss in there.
Right.
There's change. There's people making the most of their life, their existence, thinking about the new year. A love story, funny scenes. Cameron Diaz trying to, drive on the wrong side of the road over here on Christmas Eve, and she's all jet lagged. It's brilliant.
And also the way it's shot as well. So she's in LA, isn't she, in this rather fabulous apartment, and then of course she comes to the UK and she's knee deep
in a tiny
snow.
cottage. Yeah. And Kate Winslet goes over there and she's in a big kind of show. She meets an old movie director, and her life changes over the holiday season. The message is, even if you think life is not brilliant at the moment, things change.
I love it.
And life is what you make it, yeah?
Let's have a look. Let's have a look now. Obviously.
But this is not
here we are.
Here we go.
Just tell me, did you sleep with her?
Okay, I slept with her. You happy?
Did you say, am I happy?
You gotta be.
Oh, God, here he comes.
Oh, Jasper, what's the story with you two anyway? I'm head over heels, you know.
Everybody, may I introduce the newly engaged Jasper Blue?
I hate my horrible life.
Iris and Amanda are in exactly the same place.
Where do I want to go? By myself? Depressed at Christmas.
Just 6,000 miles.
It really is special. Really is special. One of my favourite movies. I can watch this film. One of the films that I watch every year in the lead up towards Christmas.
It's one of those things. It's a bit like the Richard Curtis stuff. It's all that. It's just got a feel good feeling.
It's exactly like Love Actually.
It is.
It's exactly like so many different pivotal moments.
Combining with It's a Wonderful Life, and then you're there, aren't you?
You've got all the best bits.
I think we should take a break because there's still more to get.
I've over delivered this morning. I think
you always do, Steve. Right, stay with us. This is Talk TV. Welcome back to Talk Today with me, David Bull. The time 9:28, Sunday, December the 24th. I'm joined by barrister extraordinaire and general nutcase Andrew Eborn. Also, another interesting character, Steve Denyer, also here as well. Interesting, we've had some comments. Janice in Devon says, "Good morning, Dr. David. I think you might need some help with all those Christmas hats that you're wearing on. The ward I work on has a spare bed for you."
Hey!
How rude! How rude!
Which ward
happy
is that?
Christmas.
That's lucky.
She then goes on to say, "Happy Christmas, thank you very much indeed." In terms of what you would buy Rishi Sunak, that was the question. What would you buy Rishi Sunak for Christmas? This one, another one, a similar vein. Nicholas says, "I would buy him a spine."
Oh.
Ooh. Lots of other messages coming in as well. Happy Christmas. It's a disgrace that 10 Downing Street is run by SPADs. This is Mick. SPADs, Special Advisors, that's what that means. Civil servants and staffers who have just left school with no life experience, evidenced by those who appear as rent-a-gob on television. John says, "Oh, David, your hair's a mess." Well, it's not now because I got a turkey on it. Now, Rupert Bell was talking about Christmas trees and having environmentally friendly Christmas trees.
Yeah.
I love a Christmas tree.
So do I.
But I couldn't have one because it would die. I've got an artificial one.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, I have, yeah. Tell Rupert, if we didn't have Christmas trees, they wouldn't be grown in the first place, therefore not take any CO2 out of the environment. Charles is an annoying replacement for the greatest monarch this country has ever seen. That's Chris in Newbury. That was the point I was trying to make, actually, about the late Queen never got involved in politics.
No, absolutely. Never complain, never explain. You work on that
The
sort of
only
basis.
time she did was when she said about the Scottish referendum.
Yes.
She said, think carefully.
Oh, she did. And she was also very, very clever. What I love is the moment, remember in Parliament, the Queen's speech, she wore what was the EU hat. Do you remember? Cross, do you remember that bit?
I do.
And she wore the flag, so she was very clever. And they talked about Charles wearing that Greek one when we talked about the Elgin marbles. Cross-reference.
Yes, you see, that wasn't by accident.
No, of course it's not by accident. They're
Well, of course
very
he is.
clever,
But
these
also
people.
his father was from Greece.
I know he was.
Yes.
I remember, lovely man. I like Prince Philip. He was hilarious.
He was hilarious. He was hilarious. And I've told this story before, but I met him on several occasions, and I went in once to Buckingham Palace, as you do, and he said, "Oh, not you again." And I said, "I could say the same for you, sir." And that was his.
He had a great sense of humour. Loved it.
Great sense of humour indeed. Right, it is Christmas. You may have noticed, given that I have a turkey on my head, and that means that we are celebrating and hopefully about to have some cocktails, and that's very exciting indeed. I'm delighted to say joining us this morning is Andrew Meltzer, who is a travelling bartender and hospitality educator. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
You're looking very festive.
Thank you so much. This was my finest thrift store find.
Well done.
Thank you.
Now, with your comedic accent, you're clearly from overseas.
Yes, I'm born in Boston, reborn in San Francisco, moved here a few years ago.
And what prompted you to come to the UK?
I'm a dual citizen, so I was following in my parents' footsteps and wanted to explore my heritage and go to Greece on holiday.
Well, I don't blame you.
Absolutely glorious.
So I like San Francisco, actually. Do you miss it?
Very much. I was dreaming of it last night. Sunshine, beautiful woman, you know.
Left your hearts there, it's got to be good. I love it.
Of course, but European life is great too, even on this island.
So, and what a lot of my American friends say is when they come here, they really embrace Europe because they say it's so small. I can get to all these countries, I guess, well, they have a great point.
Yeah, it's more pedestrian here, and I think that just when you cross the border into the neighboring country, you hear a different language, you smell the different smells. People have very different ways of living, and in America, yes, state to state, culturally very different, but we're speaking the same language. There's the same Walmart and McDonald's. So
it blew my mind that you can travel from New York to San Francisco and it takes 6.5 hours on the plane.
Incredible, isn't it?
It's the same distance between London and New York, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's still the States, it's still America.
Huge country. And I said it's not one country, it's 50 countries, and you can tell, can't you, as you go from state to state, they're very different.
And San Francisco is, to me, the very European city.
Yes, for sure.
And it is a
So it's Boston, though, isn't it?
Yes, it is, very much.
Yeah.
Lots of everything from Poles and Brits and, of course, you know, people from all over the world gathering there, and it's a true melting pot.
Amazing tech as well. It's creative hub is fantastic. You almost had Sam Altman going backwards and forwards on OpenAI and that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
so
right.
He almost was there.
And you still see, I think, a lot of medical and scientific research there, whereas the more fintech and things like that are on the West Coast.
Yeah, very much so, very much so. You're a travelling bartender, which sounds like a marvellous job to me. So what are you going to do today?
Okay, we're going to make 2 cocktails. One will be a citrus-driven brunchy aperitif, something bitter and bracing to wake you up, and lots of vitamin C to fuel you.
We need waking up. We do need waking up.
Perfect. So I'll start building them, and we will tell you what's in them.
So can I just ask you, whilst you're doing that, cocktails have very much come back into fashion, because when I was growing up, it wasn't that kind of thing. We were talking earlier about sherry.
We were.
It was well, sherry was the drink back when I was growing up, and you would have a tiny little sherry. Sherry went out of fashion, didn't it? And then it came back into fashion. Apparently, it's
it should be back in fashion. And I love a dry sherry. And depending on the different use, before your meal of the day, have a dry one, and maybe finish with a sweet one.
Do you like sherry, Steve?
Do you know, I haven't really had it over the years. Can I share my favourite Christmas drink? Is we always called it a snowball.
Oh yes, I remember those.
Do you remember this? With advocaat, lemonade, and maybe a bit of kind of vanilla ice cream on the top, and it's beautiful. In fact, I'm going to get some advocaat later.
Oh, right.
Good call.
Tonight. So Andrew, just for people who are keen to know what you're doing, just talk us through what you're making and what you're doing.
My lovely partner helped me squeeze some fresh grapefruit juice. It's citrus season, so I always celebrate with something seasonal. And we're gonna go on like a slightly lower alcohol cocktail, using some Lillet Blanc, which is a French aperitif wine, so kind of like a vermouth.
What's it called?
Lillet
Blanc. The white milk.
Is
that what it is? Oh no, Lillet Blanc. Okay.
Are you familiar with that?
I don't know.
No,
it's kind of like a vermouth. It's like but a little sweetened. It's got a bit of like a stone fruit flavor and a slight bitterness.
I must say, it all smells delightful. I'm sat next to you. There's a great. I feel fresh, just the waft coming over towards
I think what
me.
you're smelling is the gin. It might have been last night's leftovers.
That is also true. So you've got your Lillet Blanc, and then what are you doing then?
I've got the fresh grapefruit juice. This is a new gin called Quarto.
Quarto.
It's inspired by the writings of Shakespeare. So all of the botanicals in here can be found in Shakespeare's plays and poems, and it has a rhythm and a cadence just like his works do.
And why is it, that's why it's quarto, because of the rhythms and the cadences.
Exactly, and I believe it also refers to the style of printing.
Exactly, that's what they do.
So, and that's English gin, is it?
This is a brand new one. It's from two gents in London. It's distilled in London, and it has very interesting ingredients like rosebud, peppercorn, apple. So I think it'll work really nicely with these other
I love the fact he
ingredients
says on the bottle, the Bard's gin.
Isn't that good?
Isn't that nice? It's a lovely in gold. It's beautiful. Look at it.
Well, I mean, it's interesting gin. I mean, it is my favourite tipple, but certainly when I was growing up, it was, well, originally in Hogarth's time, it was Mother's Ruin.
It was.
That's where that picture, the famous picture, comes from. Gin's had a massive renaissance, hasn't it? And it seems to be very much on the up. We're seeing different gins. I went to a place where I made my own gin, where I've actually created my own gin, and I order it because it's according to my recipe.
Amazing. Wow. And I think that's part of it. There's really thoughtful ingredients going into it. There's a more pure alcohol in the bottle. And I think that many of us were growing up, we were drinking a cheaper gin. It was lower quality. it all looks clear, so how do you tell the difference except for the price
So
tag?
what do you... So when you go to the supermarket, how should you choose your gin? Because I think most of us do go on price.
I think, yeah, I mean, definitely how weighty your wallet is feeling is a part of it, but...
That's a good
there's,
oh, look at that.
I always recommend that before you add ice, you give it a little stir and taste the drink for balance to make sure all of the ingredients are there and that you don't need to add anything afterwards. Yeah, I have a few favorites. For me, I'm a very traditional guy. I love juniper-driven London dry gins, which have a little bit more oomph and a bit more hair on their chest.
So do you want to explain the difference, what a London Dry is?
A classic London Dry gin will be more juniper dominant. The modern or Western style of gin would have a little bit more either floral or fruit or something where the juniper isn't so much in the front seat.
So my understanding was that with a London Dry, the botanicals are put into the still, is that right? And then then it's distilled with them?
In all classic gins, but you have, you know, a lot of gins, for example, like Hendrick's, where they're distilling it with many of the botanicals, then the famous cucumber and rose.
But don't they add that after? Yes, that's the point.
Hendrick's is my favourite.
Yes, I'm with you on that, absolutely.
So now, it depends, because certain gins will give me a headache, and I think it's about the distillation process.
It would be, and you work on that sort of premise, absolutely.
And the purity of it, because it's kind of like, look at vodka marketing. They say, oh, distilled 5 times, and then filtered through the sails of a World Cup winning boat, and it's like, okay, well, how much
headache already?
Yeah, but there is a little bit of method to that madness, where if you are distilling it and saving only the hearts of the distillation, the purest part, you're gonna have a better quality product to work with. And then, of course, you want great botanicals added.
So can I just also ask the difference between gin and vodka, because they have a similar kind of root. What's the easiest way to describe that to people?
Well, vodka, by definition, is colourless, odourless, flavourless, and tasteless, and soulless.
There you go.
And
soulless.
Wow.
And no, I'm kidding. There's great opportunity to work with vodka, and you know, my motto of bartending is kind of like Burger King: is let the guest have it their way.
Yeah.
And if somebody wants a drink substituted with this or that, or omitting something, of course I'll make it if I can. They're here. I'm here to entertain them. I'm not drinking
And it's a great job advert.
Yeah.
Great opportunity to work with vodka.
ZacharyDoctor.com.
Yeah. Very good.
And, you know, gin, by definition, is a clear distillate that's got botanicals added to it, namely juniper. You can add anything else, but it has to have juniper added to it. And you can have an aged gin, so it can be put into a barrel afterwards. Like the original Dutch Genever, which is where we get the name gin, was aged.
Genever.
Yes. And yeah, I think it's a matter of taste. Some people might start with a vodka martini and then work their way up once they have a gin martini and they realize, wow, this is so much more flavor and texture, and I sound mature talking about it.
Drinks have become so much more complicated. We're also so much more clued up now.
Yes, it's true.
And so your job must be extremely complex now compared to what it would have been maybe even a decade ago.
Yeah.
We know our stuff a lot more than we used to.
Which actually makes it more interesting and easier for guests, for the bartender. When the guests know what they're drinking, they say, I love an old-fashioned, I want it with your best rye whiskey.
Yeah,
totally.
Are you going to shake with me?
Are you going to shake it? Go on.
I'll be delighted.
One bottom and then one on top.
Go on, then.
Yes, you do.
David, this is not a good idea, is it?
No, it's really
Tell me
not.
when to do it.
Shake it with love.
Shake it
and
with love.
intention.
Okay.
Shall I step back a bit?
Mind your eye,
look at
Andrew.
you. Come on.
Is that a real smile?
How's it going?
Andrew, I'll go back to the champagne story.
I think we're probably right.
Mind your eye.
You had to do it for 4 hours, don't you?
So,
yes, keep going.
right, so just remind us what's in. Just remind us what's in this.
Okay, so our aperitif cocktail here is going to have fresh grapefruit juice, Lillet Blanc, the aperitif.
Yes, Lillet Blanc.
Some delicious Quarto gin and a dash of Campari for bitter orange.
We love a dash.
Come on then.
And
I mean, it's been hours.
Yes, let's do the dash quickly, I reckon.
Yes, I agree.
The build-up of this drink.
Now,
I love it. Goodness.
Whilst we're making those gins, can we just move on to Christmas Day?
Yeah, some great TV.
What's your name, Steve?
Let me start in the afternoon. This is, I'm not sure what time you have your Christmas lunch, but within my family, we'll watch this before lunch.
Yes.
At 2:30 tomorrow.
television before lunch.
Yeah, why not?
Well, you have to.
You know, while it's being cooked.
We're on it. Absolutely. You've got to do it. Everybody gets around the television.
You watch television before. Well,
Talk TV should be watched all the time.
It does. It's
apart
compulsory.
from this
It's the
channel,
breakfast show. Yes.
Right,
2:30 tomorrow afternoon. Rob Brydon in Tabby McTat.
Never seen it.
So, well, it's a one-off special for tomorrow.
Oh, I see. That's why I haven't seen it.
Exactly.
I see it every week. It's great.
I hated it.
I hope they repeat it.
Right,
carry on.
Pass one down for me.
There you go.
Pass one down. Keep going.
Okay, so
there are three. Here we are, David.
Thank you very much. Cocktail.
Very good.
It's a countdown to the new year.
Oh,
Countdown to the new year. Thank you. That's all
And
right.
it's got 4 parts, 3 parts, 2 parts, 1 part.
Yeah,
It's
I like
easy
the
to remember.
glass
Okay,
as
thank
well.
you
Look
very
at
much
that.
indeed.
Your good health.
Happy Christmas, everybody.
Happy Christmas, everybody.
Happy Christmas. Yes, I can't believe it's actually Christmas.
Amazing.
You can taste
that's
the grapefruit.
good. Absolutely. I like your dash in there. That's lovely.
And I wonder if you guys are having a small Christmas or if any of you are going to a larger festive gathering.
Do we get a big drink? Depending.
I brought a punch bowl. I brought a punch bowl for a reason.
Oh, good. Oh, look at that.
So, you know, I think another thing, like the sherries, like a lot of these other cocktails and styles of service that went out of fashion for a decade or two, punch is back.
Right.
Punch is back.
It's
and
not
also,
frat boy punch.
let me just tell you, Punch will be back after this break. This.
Oh, I like it. Very good.
Welcome back to Abject Chaos here. And talk today. It is 9:46. This is the final part. This is a lovely aperitif. Thank you very much indeed for that. Andrew Meltzer is here. He is a travelling bartender and hospitality educator, and I need educating in cocktails.
I think that's probably true.
I think we love you, Andrew.
We do so much, you know. I'll be in the neighborhood every Christmas Eve.
We're going to move to any neighborhood where you are.
Well, exactly. We'll follow you around. So if people want to get hold of you, just whilst I remember, how do people get hold of you or your website?
Yeah, daiquirydoctor.com or on Instagram at daiquirydoctor.
That's a proper doctor.
Hey. Oh, is that right? We need proper
Daiquiri Doctor without borders. I'll go anywhere.
Daiquiri Doctor without borders. That's good.
It's
I like that. Right. Okay, what are we doing with the punch bowl?
Okay, so I've got
You forgot.
I've got a dozen people coming over, plus a few neighbors have been invited.
Okay.
I don't want to be in the kitchen shaking cocktails all day long, so I'm going to make one bowl of punch, and it will be a nice, refreshing but flavorful tipple, and served in small little cups. Have a water cooler effect. Everybody can come by. So I did a little prep beforehand.
Okay.
I've got fresh squeezed lemon juice. Once again, fresh squeezed.
You like
always.
your citrus?
Always, and especially in the season.
It's so refreshing, isn't it?
Yeah,
And already
it
I
is.
feel really refreshed and alive.
Yes, we feel awake now.
We do.
I'm watching you too. I'm watching you.
Okay, so I've got a little rhyme for you to remember for an easy punch. 4 of strong, 4 of weak, 1 of sour, 1 of sweet. So it's 4 parts of strong, which will be a brandy.
Right.
4 parts of weak, which will be water, or in our case, champagne.
Yeah,
Oh, good.
I like that one.
And then
Be careful of your eye.
And then 1 of sour, 1 of sweet. So I've got about 150, 200 milliliters of some lemon juice.
Okay.
And then I've got a simple syrup. So
What's that one?
1 part organic cane sugar, 1 part of boiling water. Just a cup and a cup.
Cane sugar and boiling water?
Yeah, and I got a little crafty on you. I put a Ziploc bag with about 2 lemons worth of peels.
Yes.
And the cup of sugar, and I let them sit in the Ziploc bag for 2 days.
Right.
And the sugar sucks all the oils out of the lemon peel.
how clever.
That's called an oleosaccharum, oil sugar.
An oleosaccharum.
So you have this
Put that in
lemon-scented
your lexicon.
sugar.
I will. Oleosaccharum.
Yeah. Whilst you're doing that, Steve, can we go back to Christmas Day before I forget?
Yes.
So we were starting to talk about Tabby McTat.
Yeah, Rob Brydon, he was in with Chris Evans a couple of weeks ago talking about this. He's the voice. It's an animated thing. He's the voice, and apparently he can do over 6 different meows. So he's a meow expert, and you'll hear all of them tomorrow at 2:30. But what I'm most looking forward to tomorrow is, and one of the saddest passings this year for me, Barry Humphries, Dame Edna Everage. We spoke about Laurel and Hardy earlier, but
Are
I
you
think
a fan of Dame Edna, Andrew?
Entertain me.
Okay,
how
so
do you
that doesn't
begin?
translate.
Les
That's
Patterson,
interesting.
Dame Edna.
No, Dame Edna. No.
No.
Okay, good. You need to watch that.
Dame Edna was
So what's
huge in
tomorrow?
the States as well. So Dame Edna was absolutely massive in the 80s, was on the Joan Rivers show.
Okay.
Would guess the rule is if Dame Edna
He basically dressed as a woman. So Barry Humphries dressed as a woman, but this character evolved over the years. And the glasses got bigger and bigger.
Yes.
It became more ridiculous. And actually, was the King's favourite entertainer, as far as I'm aware.
Throughout Gladioli into the audience.
He was so talented.
We can all remember the age when we realised that Dame Edna was a man, and I think I'm sorry, sorry. I think I was 18, maybe 19, but absolutely brilliant. And I love that clip when Barry Humphries passed away, and you've got Dame Edna in the royal box of the Royal Variety Performance, and he said, "I've just been given a better seat." It's just brilliant, and the comedy timing was great.
No, seriously,
the
Andrew,
King loved it.
So that is going to be. Oh, here comes the cork popping.
Oh, no, watch your eyes.
Remember, it's all twist.
It is twist and tap.
Oh.
Oh, that was the right.
Tap. He missed the tap.
Doesn't matter. He had a big bowl underneath. It was
I come prepared.
Nothing was wasted.
So
that's tomorrow.
Do watch that, by the way, if you get a chance. So that's 10 o'clock tomorrow, ITV1. Record it, and then you'll see what we're jabbering on about.
And you forget that Celeste Patterson was also one of.
Didn't like that so much.
I love Celeste.
Oh, come on, Celeste is brilliant because I've been to events where there is always a Celeste. There is.
Stains
drunken Australian.
Straight after one of these shows. It's brilliant.
And whilst I remember, very happy Christmas to Davis Fang and Steve Milne over in Australia.
Happy Christmas.
I heard from you only a few hours ago, so very happy.
I do love Davis's tech. I always watch it on a Sunday. He's brilliant.
He's got a lovely following, actually.
He's really great.
Yeah, happy Christmas to you too.
Also, tomorrow night, looking at Carolina Hearn's life.
Wow.
This is Ricky Tomlinson looking back on all the pivotal royal family scenes.
Yeah.
The Nana was always my favourite. Remember, Nana never had a drink.
Yes.
And they were like, yeah, but you did have sherry at Christmas. And you had some champagne at that wedding. She's like, oh, yes. Yeah, sherry at Christmas, but I don't drink. You know.
Just being polite.
Yes, exactly.
So that's great. So a whole evening, Carolina Hearn, of course, Mrs. Merton.
Yes, fantastic.
Can I just ask you another question? Because the head of the BBC, Charlotte Moore, has said that actually the Christmas Day schedule is marvellous from the BBC. The offering is marvellous. And I would disagree. I looked at the schedule and thought, here we go again. It's the same old nonsense.
Yeah.
And she says, well, we give people what they want. Now, in my day, actually, it was a real treat. We were talking about it in Makeup earlier, that when the Radio Times came out, the TV Times came out, it was massive.
Well, you got a hernia lifting it up first of all.
And then I'd go through it and I'd ring the things I want to see.
And you'd watch things as a family, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You'd turn on, everybody was around that
And
box.
it was also a day, I mean, we have got a Doctor Who special, but there used to be special after special after special. They have got a Morecambe and Wise special, but we've seen it 20,000 times, you know.
AI will come up with a new content with the old... That's true.
Very true.
It's absolutely... Mark my words, this is going to happen. They're going to take all the old things and basically come up with new content based on people's previous performances.
So,
it will happen next Christmas.
It's
not tragic,
because
you'll love it.
But that goes back to the SAG-AFTRA stuff in the States as well.
No, as long as you pay people properly. You must pay people properly.
Indeed.
But that's what's going to happen with content.
Can I just say, I've never seen a slab of ice as big as that.
Right. Well, how did you do that? That's enormous.
I thought you were going to...
One at a time.
I thought you were going to tell me it was too small.
So what are you doing now?
Just serving punch. It's done.
Just tell us what's in this again.
Okay, so we've already put in this fresh lemon juice.
Yes.
Lemon scented simple syrup, or just a cup of simple syrup. And then I've got a little bit of water. Since I don't have a companion here shaking the cocktail, we need to dilute it somehow.
Yeah.
So I've got chilled water. And then I've got this fabulous brandy, which I know some people think brandy's gone out of fashion, but there's a resurgence of brandy as well.
What's it called? Burnt what? Burnt Faith? I thought it was Burnt Faith.
This is
about burning devils
This is
earlier.
the newest British brandy.
Yes.
The first one in
I love
hundreds of
these
years.
British products.
Yeah, of course, keep it local, support the local economy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And these folks are in Walthamstow, northeast London.
East 17.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
Staying
you can go visit their brandy house. They're making brandy from some of my favorite grapes, Trebbiano, Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc.
Fantastic, yeah.
And then they age it in classic barrels like Spanish brandy, bourbon barrels, but also Ukrainian cherry liqueur.
Oh, good.
And some Pinot de Charente, which is a French sweet wine. So you get really wonderful flavor profile. I've also topped it with a bottle of champagne.
Oh,
yeah. Are you ready
okay,
for a taste?
So, and I love the fact that glasses are all hooked on the side of it.
Yeah, you know, this was also a charity shop find. £10 for
£10
for an amazing punch set.
And you got the jumper for free.
Yeah, exactly. Buy one get one special. They knew where I was going.
Super. Right, so
I'll pass this along. Thank you.
Whilst you're doing
to David, there we are.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, let's taste that first, and then I've got one more thing I have to do.
Okay.
I have to get to it.
You're doing very well.
Well, that's very kind of,
You're holding it all together beautifully.
I'm watching the time and the producer.
Very good. We're all doing this
Lovely.
in unison, are we? Okay.
I actually think having a punch is a great idea because you do all the effort and then it's there and you can go and help yourself.
It really does have a water cooler effect, as I mentioned.
It does.
People tend to gather around, serve each other. You make a new friend.
I love it.
Is that good? Should we try?
Right, cheers.
Cheers, everybody. Happy
Christmas. Yes,
I like that. That's very good, isn't it?
I'm being told, please drink responsibly. Of course, it is a festive season. But
absolutely.
That is probably a very strong and sane message.
It is very strong.
That's really nice.
I watered it down with champagne, though.
I love the smell. The smell reminds
Honestly, yesterday, Claire Muldoon, give her a glass of champagne, the whole thing fell apart. I had no idea what was going on.
You only had like one bottle, didn't you?
No.
It was like one sip.
And then Phil's in here cleaning the window. I mean, I have no idea what was going on.
Is that right?
Well, just very quickly, if I can go to some photographs, because we thought it would be a good idea just to show you pictures. I can't speak again. Show you pictures of Christmases gone by. Look, that's me in a doctor's outfit with a terrible artificial tree. Look at that carpet.
Look at that hair.
Look at that hair.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know how old I was, but obviously I wanted to be a doctor from a very early age.
Very good.
That's me. And moving on, who else have we got next? Who's that? That's you, Steve Denyer.
Look at you. How glorious is that?
Steve Denyer, another artificial tree there as well. Oh, don't you look cute?
I had a hair transplant, age 3. Look at that. That's amazing.
And then the last one. Do we have one more?
Let's have a look.
Have we got another one?
Oh, that's me again.
Oh, look at that, you.
That's you.
No, that's me.
That's you.
Yeah, that's.
When did your hair change colour?
That's me.
Do we have Andrew? Have we got Andrew? That's not Andrew. That is it.
There's me.
Who's that?
That's me.
Oh, yeah, we're good.
It's not me.
Oh, look, there's me again.
Right, good. So there we are, bygones of Christmas past. Crikey, you can see from the sartorial splendour of those quite interesting tinsel trees that were all the rage then. Talking of all the rage, Christo joins us. Good morning.
I have nothing but rage.
I know, as usual.
It's far too jolly in here. What is going on?
It's been very funny.
Christmas or something. Bar humbug.
Would you like some punch?
I would like to give
Have
you a
some
punch.
You are so horrible to me, honestly.
I was thinking it was a Christmas present this year. Actually,
You'd be nice.
I would be nice to you.
Yes.
But
How's that going?
No, I decided against it. I decided that I would just be my normal self towards you.
Yes.
Have you had a nice show?
It's been really fun. Thank you to everyone.
It's been brilliant. Lovely show.
You looking forward to tomorrow?
I'm looking forward to in about 3 minutes' time.
Oh.
Because I'm on holiday.
Yes, I know, but your mum, you know your mum's coming to us for Christmas.
No, what?
Your mum's coming to us. She called me. She cannot bear to spend the day with you, so
I don't blame
She
her.
wanted me to break it to you.
Are you apparently doing a programme after this? I don't know. What's in it?
I am. Oh, you want to talk about what's in my programme?
Yes.
We're going to talk about whether you would rather have, and so I'm sure it's something you've touched on, if you had a choice between low taxes or low immigration, what you would choose out the two. Because, of course, there's the story today that apparently it was the immigration plan that was fending off low taxes. Should King Charles be telling us to live more sustainably in his Christmas message? Is that getting too political, or is it a worthy goal and the politics is getting there?
Yep.
And we'll also take some calls as well from a psychotherapist about those people who aren't looking forward to Christmas, coping with Christmas.
Good.
And we thought we'd do that today because obviously tomorrow I'm here from 7 till 11 as well.
I know you're very busy.
It's my Christmas cracker. I'm always open. It's my Christmas.
The only time you're allowed out.
It's my Christmas cracker.
Christo, I hope it
You
goes...
refused to call in, didn't you? You refused to be a part of it.
I'm busy. I hope you have a great show.
Thank
you very much.
It's very kind of you.
Thank you to all of you. Can I just say, Andrew Meltzer, travelling bartender and hospitality educator, thank you so much. That's very kind of you to come in. Steve Denyer, always a pleasure. I'll see you later.
Steve,
I'll see you later with my mother as well, so that's very exciting indeed. Andrew, always a pleasure. We should have done some magic as well.
Oh, we should have. Next time, well, I'll disappear now, which is going to be good.
Is he meeting your mother?
Sorry?
Is he meeting your mother?
Yeah.
I didn't know you two had got to this stage in your relationship.
It's getting serious.
What could possibly go wrong? That's what I want to know. Thank you very much indeed for all your messages as well. Fiona in Winterton, North Lincolnshire. I would like to wish you and your wonderful team a truly fabulous Christmas. I hope you enjoy a well-earned break. Your show is my absolute favourite, and I wish you a very happy, healthy 2024. Dan in Kent says, I'm off shopping with a stride in my step. If you can't laugh at yourself, David, you can't laugh at all. And Jane says, what a fabulous show. Thank you very much indeed, Jane. I needed a giggle. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you. Well, that leads me to say a very Merry Christmas to you. I hope you have a fantastic New Year as well. They've let me have some time off. I'm having a